like that, we're back with another Unpacked presented to you by the To Be Fair Show and
the G Shit Podcast.
All right, we're back with another one. We hopping off the Pan-African conversation a little bit. What was we at last week? I don't think it was directly related with the diaspora as well. But we moving a little closer to the red pill, maybe manosphere. We talking masculinity, femininity in the Black community. It's gonna be a great episode. A lot of diverse opinions and thoughts. But before we get there, we have an amazing panel. Y'all see him, y'all know him. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves. At the top, G, talk to him.
What's good, everybody? It's G, host of the G Shit Podcast, where we focus on family, friends, finances, freedom, and our future, and fuck everything else. Check it out wherever you get your pod. Just search GSHPOD. Hi.
Beside him, y'all see him, FBA Trey, David Walker, CassiusTrey. A lot of aliases, all to say the same thing. Talk to him.
What's good? It's your self-appointed FBA advocate. On the show to do my best to, keep everything on code. Keep me honest in the chat. Looking forward to the interactions.
All right, below him, fresh off of Ramadan, we talking to Charlotte's favorite. Some may call him the mayor. A Black, talk to him.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Happy to be here this Wednesday. Looking forward to good conversation as long as I can chime in today. And let's get it.
All right. And below him, to the left of him, Johnny P, 1/3 of the To Be Fair Show, the host of the To Be Fair Show, dressed in all black, any all black, FBA zone. Johnny, what's going on?
What's going on, family? Happy to be here. Like you say, it's your boy Johnny P. Looking forward to another fruitful conversation with the gang. Let's get it.
All right. So these past few episodes, we've kind of started off with a couple left and right memes. I figure why not start that again? There's been a couple quick little things that's popped up this week. So we'll start off on the left. Y'all favorite Democrat. I'll play this. Y'all can give me some response on it. This has been kind of a talking point for the right throughout this week.
Because we in these hot ass Texas streets, honey. Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot ass mess, honey. So yes.
Nonetheless, that was the commentary that kind of got her inside some shit. If you're not familiar, the governor of Texas is in a wheelchair, and she called.
Yo, I didn't even know that's why she called a nigga Hot Wheels. I didn't even know that's why she called this Hot Wheels. Oh,
hey, shit. But I ain't gonna lie, they did a good job because I didn't know that until recently. The marketing team over there did a good job of like hiding that because that is something that I don't know if it happened to him recently or not.
Nah, he's been paralyzed since like 1980.
Yeah, my Texas friends have said that the nickname Hot Wheels is not new.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that is said on both sides. So the context of it is like that's been said, and that it's even been said as a term of endearment and like to hype him up, but they kind of have taken the way she said it as like another way to attack her, which is like, so she is just kind of saying what's been said, but also I'm kind of starting noticing like a naivete or her being a little naive of thinking that she can speak in a way that the other side speaks. Her response to the backlash was, Trump says things about people, insults to people, and she basically made her standard Trump, which is kind of a losing way to go, because it's like you're supposed to. One thing y'all say, he's he's not professional. He doesn't follow decorum, all these things. And at the same time, they try to match his energy. And that's not going to work for Democrats. It's definitely not going to work for a sassy black woman. And they already got a target on her, so I'm fearing that she might talk herself into more trouble, because as free as we should be able to speak and be ourselves, we don't get the same privilege as the dominant class. Like, that's been the history of America. Like, we have to, have better standard. That's why Obama could be Obama, because of his professionalism, of his high regard that he spoke and kept things and never really, and if he did go below the belt, it was always witty and cool and cute behind it. I think Jasmine might be getting a little gas from social media, might be getting a little gas from black women that like her and stuff, and might be starting to kind of lose touch of what she's up against, because they're going to use little moments like that to tear her down, more and more. And like I said, although the Hot Wheels term has been around, it's like a lot of people in mainstream and outside of Texas don't know that. So they're going to take it as like, all right, you're offending him being handicapped, and all this stuff. But she got to be careful. Like, I think she could be a shining light in that party, but I also think she's kind of leaning a little too much into the sass and the hot mess and the child please and all of those, tropes that black women already get. I think she might be trying to normalize it, and I don't know if we're at a point yet where we can get there. Like,
I mean,
it's a fire
thing. I think you. I mean, I think this show.
My bad, hey, John. I'm going right back to you. So is it something? Is it nothing? I do want to try and frame these as that. Is he just kind of like fodder, or is it something that actually means something? Black, kind of sound like you were saying that it's kind of something.
I think it's something, because the way that I've been noticing the media attack her lately, they're scared of something about her, But I also think, nobody's perfect, and she is young, and she still is growing, so she also has to be aware that like something about her is resonating enough for them to want to tear her character down. Like, every other week there's a new story coming out about her, because something they fear about her. And so she got to make sure she channeling her energy properly and not making herself a target for them, because they only care about people that they fear. It's a lot of black people in politics and politicians and representatives and congressmen that you never hear about. But for some reason, she's in the news a lot, whether it's by her own doing or whether it's by, different Republicans attacking her. I was on Twitter. I'm rarely on Twitter. I get on there for work sometimes, and I just kind of see the conservative white dudes going at her and taking these shots. And it's like, okay, they fear something about her. Okay. But she got to be wiser with what she says, especially in public audience, because this is the content, no context generation. Like, they're going to take clips, they're going to circulate them clips and create their narrative around clips and not full conversations. Because I guarantee most people didn't see her whole entire speech that night. They're going off that clip, and she got to be aware of that, like clickbait and these viral moments.
For sure. All right, back to you, Johnny. My bad. Ramadan, they black on fire right now. I ain't mad at it.
I mean, I'm gonna say it's nothing, because I think it shows more of a little bit of the hypocrisy of the right, as far as like they was the one that was calling people snowflakes. They had cancel culture. They are for the First Amendment, and then the moment somebody says something you don't like, you gonna take and be all offended and want to cancel her and play the the moral high ground, when that's like for the last 8 years that's not where y'all were, and now you just want to be so offended when you was a couple years ago you was making fun of people for being so offended and so we had to toughen up, but now you offended over a joke, something that's not even a new term. It's something that's been circulating. I didn't even know that. It was my first time hearing the term or seeing that. But if it's something that's been said, you really can't take offense to a joke or somebody saying something when y'all talk all kind of trash, when y'all on top, or when y'all try to get the power. But now you want to be offended. So I think it just shows kind of hypocrisy on the side of the right.
Gotcha.
But isn't the left like the what's up? You were about to?
Oh no, I was gonna say, is it something? Is it nothing? Trey, talk to us.
Oh yeah, I think it's something, man. Because isn't the left the party of like saying like little people and saying like all these little terms, and now she's making jokes criticizing his handicap. So it seems like they're kind of like losing that so-called moral high ground, and it seems like I don't really like how they push her as like our sister girl representation, and like so she gets to be real disrespectful, and then but you really can't tell her anything or anyone that's really defending her. So I think she's like a representation of kind of what we may be getting into later in this topic. But I just wish you could get that sassy about like lineage-based reparations or anti-Black hate crime bill the way that she gets sassy for the T community and immigrants. Like that's my biggest gripe with her. And I guess last thing, I don't like how they put, that's what Democrats thinks of Black women, because they push her out there because they think she's going to be relatable. So I think that's just more like undercover disrespect, to where on the surface I can see how it looks like nothing, but there's so many like nuances that are captured in this situation that, that's where I'm coming from.
Gotcha. G, talk to us. Is it something? Is it nothing?
I think it's something, but I do disagree a little bit with what A Black said about them fearing her. Like I don't think that I don't think they see her as like a messiah figure or somebody that's really about to like shake things up in like a powerful way. What I do think though is I think that she sprung into virality with that Marjorie Taylor Greene thing, with the built butch back something, whatever she said in Congress when
I think it was bare built.
Yeah. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene said something about her fake lashes or something like that. So then she replied, but like that is the moment that brought like real eyes and attention on her beyond just her being a random Black representative out of the state of Texas. Like after that moment, now people started to know like, oh, that's Jasmine Crockett, in my opinion. And what I think she's doing right now is pivoting out of politics, if I'm being honest. That's what I think she's doing. I don't think she's trying to quote unquote do like the moral high ground, politically correct rhetoric. I think she's trying to leverage this momentum and set herself up as more of like a personality that can, go on and do other things in this political space, similar to the likes of the Andrew Gillums, the Bakari Sellers, the, that realm of people who are these, speaking boards for the Democratic Party who once held a position and then they kind of fall back and do something else. I think she's building her brand and reputation in a way so that she can start to really become more of a media like figure than an actual politician. That's my opinion, but we'll see if time will tell.
All right, got you. Hey, Black, you muted.
Oh, so I want to piggyback off that. I do agree with that part of what G said. Because like when we showed the meme last week of like the Democrats kind of doing the Avengers thing, I said that I feel like a lot of Democrats are more concerned with being famous and raising their profile versus like their actual politics. And if you watch her last interview with Breakfast Club, she said it herself that she talked about being a lawyer and having this big case that she could get this huge settlement from, but she can't do it while she's in public office. So she's willing to resign to get that settlement. And she was kind of talking about how she has all these other things going on, and like, politics is not the end or the beginning for her. So I see that too, where, I keep seeing these interviews and seeing them on Breakfast Club and seeing them kind of almost be like entertainers in a sense of, in a way, versus like your traditional politician or your grassroots activists or just the people that you don't see on camera all the time. You see the the transition of kind of fame being addictive. Like you see it with AOC and different people like who get a lot of this attention for their clapbacks and for attacking the machine. But I also feel like it starts to go to some of their head and they start to realize, okay, there's something bigger than this. You know, I can be famous for other things and I can, like G said, pivot. I can write books. I can, you know, have my own podcast, my own TV show and stuff like that and be a pundit. So I get a lot of those vibes because the more I start seeing some people, I be wanting to know like, well, what are they actually doing? You know, and are their actions superseding their words? You know, because we see all of these cool things that they say, but I can't really pinpoint a lot of like, you know, AOC did boom, 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 you know, or caused some huge change. So unless people more educated than me on them, like I'll be wondering like, okay, well, what are they doing now? Because I know that they can talk. I know that they can frazzle old white men in hearings and stuff like that, or white women. You know, that's cool. That's funny for content. But okay, what are we really doing? Like, what can I attribute to Jasmine Crockett in Texas that she changed or helped her people? And I know on the legal side, her lawyer background. But now I'm thinking like political, like what do y'all know that she's really done that's been like, whoa, that wouldn't happen without her in that position.
Got you. Okay, all right. So I guess we'll kind of segue to the other side of the aisle.
Can I ask you a real quick question? Did you see when she was putting her hands on somebody? In that I just saw a report of that today. Like a reporter came up to her.
She put her hands on somebody.
Yeah, she like mushed the reporter's camera or something like that, and he's trying to file assault charges because she had scratched him up or something like that. I don't know, man. I think that's
how do you feel about that? Do you think that that's fair, or is that like just kind of just piling on?
I think we need she getting baited, and she takes the bait sometimes.
Like, you gotta keep your hands to yourself, bro.
She a lawyer. She would know. I mean, I would think, you know, someone like a lawyer would have a good idea of like, you know, stuff to do and not do in situations like that.
Or is that this right here?
I don't know. I know another black woman lawyer who's undefeated in cases, but also in her personal life be crashing out. So I don't know.
Bro, you heard about there was a bar fight where like a sitting councilwoman or something, or no, it was the mayor. I don't know, somebody in some, it was a DA or somebody in some high position, and she was scrapping in the bar, man. They like had the rest. I forgot what city it was exactly, man. I'll get y'all the details. I'm tripping, but to A Black's point, I don't think nobody's really above, you know, acting different in their personal life than they do at their job. They don't really mean anything.
Okay, so this is not it right here, right? This is just her talking to a reporter.
I think this is it. I wish it would fast forward to the beginning.
There it is.
Oh, that.
Oh,
come on, bro. I can't believe, yo, Trey, boy, you a wild one.
Y'all trying
I can't believe you even said, yo, that boy, you a wild one, boy.
Nah, but hey, they are pressing charges on her, man. So we'll see. You know how it don't take much.
Yeah, but I think on both sides, we'll say that that's BS.
But hold on. So you think it is cool to, you know, put hands on anybody in this on the camera or anything like that? That's right.
I think she pushed the camera down. I would just hold her to the same standard that we hold everybody, and I don't think we ever care about that. I don't think
get hemmed up for something like that. Not too long ago. Yeah.
If he did, I wasn't for him getting hemmed up for any of that. Like to me, that like my stance would be the same. Like,
I got you. I didn't know.
If I can't get mad at Ye for doing it, I can't get mad at her for just pushing that camera down.
I mean, he got sued.
I'm not mad at her for it, but like I say, she is different with an entertainer, with a politician. With a politician, they're going to use, especially a black woman or a black man, but they go use any little thing to say, oh, you angry, oh, you aggressive, even though they do the same thing. Somebody mentioned in the comment where Trump said this, like, he can't be the standard. If he gonna be the standard in the bar, we gonna lose. Like, we're supposed to be better than him.
Right. All right, so I'm gonna push play on this. On the right, they had the group chat scandal. I I'll push play. This is it's a little interesting.
The White House saying that no war plans were shared.
Yeah, that's
criticizing the
baloney. That's
reporter.
baloney. I don't think they ought to just be honest and own up to it.
It was incredibly sloppy. But that being said, I think it was a mistake, and I can say for certain they're going to put protocols in place so that doesn't happen again.
People make mistakes, you know. Those who do not make mistakes can throw the first stone.
The leaders on that group chat are extraordinary people. I know them all personally. They're patriots. They're doing a great job for the country. And that was a successful mission. They've acknowledged that there was an error and they're correcting it. And I would have asked the same thing of the Biden administration. I don't think anyone should have lost their job over that.
What do you make of the White House saying?
All right. So is it something? Is it nothing? The Republicans, they added a journalist to the war group chat where they were sending out the details for, I think it was the Yemen strike, I want to say, in which, again, as you heard him say, it was successful. I think I don't even want to run down the names of the people that was in it. I think another detail that came off from this is that they was kind of using just like an average encrypted app, encryption app Signal, which, isn't at a specifically heightened level of encryption in security. But nonetheless, is it something? Is it nothing? Are we overreacting? Or is this like a really big faux pas when it comes down to adding random journalists into the real-time war plans?
Man, this is more than something. This is like ridiculously amateur hour. Like this is this is not even like you are fired type. Like this is not even like I don't even see how this is up for like, oh, they just make a mistake. At the end of the day, when you are the head of the Defense Department, some mistakes just can't be made. And negligence, like when you're a doctor or something and you do something that's negligent, your ass is going to jail if somebody dies, right? Like this is such gross negligence on behalf of those involved. Like it's definitely something. And it's also just highlights the hypocrisy when it comes to pointing fingers versus being accountable, because like these are the same, politicians that were on Hillary talking about the BlackBerry with the private email and she should go to jail, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So if you're going to have that type of mindset and energy for, the Hillary Clinton situation, for, Joe Biden's son, as an example, I feel like we gotta make sure that this doesn't just like slip as something in whoever this dude is, the Secretary of Defense, Pete, this nigga his time is ticking. Like, where's the resignation? Where's the firing? Something's got to happen here sooner than later, because this is more than gross negligence. It's terrible.
Gotcha. Johnny, is this something? Is this nothing?
Oh, it's definitely something. I think it's just like nonsense. So it's just like you said, it's negligence. It's you just being loose. And like you said, if you was mad at Hillary, which I didn't agree. I think we have to be more careful. I think they just going and they treating it like a game, and this just shows it as far as like to have that kind of national security thing in a text message that's getting leaked, and now we all know about it. It's just it's unacceptable. I don't know if something's gonna happen, but that's very scary to to be a reality in the world we live in, that they're gonna drop a bomb or something and it's just floating around in the text chain, group chat, so anybody and everybody can see it. So
Hey, Black, is it something? Is it nothing?
I think in the grand scheme it's nothing. I feel like maybe I watch too many like espionage shows and movies and stuff, but I just feel like this is intentional in a way. I can't see an oversight or mistake being made like this. I feel like there's some type of intentionality of why they wanted this to be leaked and wanted it to be known. even if it was a mistake and leaked, I feel like they still could have kept it under wraps if they wanted to. But I feel like it was something intentional about this, and I might not have processed the real reason why, but I don't leave thinking they make mistakes like that. I feel like this was done purposely for some reason.
Gotcha. Trey, is this something? Is this nothing?
I don't know, man. I think it's more than nothing, but I don't think it's this as much of something as people are making it out to be. Because, like you were saying, there's a lot of hypocrisy to where, like trying to one up each other, playing a lot of gotchas, making comparisons to where they'll defend when they do something, then it'll happen to them. So then they'll defend the person on their side. So it's just, I don't know if this is as bad as having like a whole server with top secret information, that's accessible there, or with the emails and everything that for an extended period of time. And I don't think they should defend that guy, and they should handle him. I don't know if they've really, like I said, we don't know what's going to become of the situation. So I think we should let it play out before,
So is this a careless mistake in y'all like A Black and Trey? Y'all think this is just like a careless mistake, like nigga made a typo on the document type deal? It's all good.
I don't think it's a mistake. I think everything these people be doing be strategic. Like I say, I don't. You ask me if I say that, you'll ask why. I don't know why, but something about it feels intentional. But
yeah, I'm with A Black on that. Like, or at least there's more to the story with how maybe he did have access, he didn't have access. He went through some type of procedure. It's not like just a random person ended up in a group chat somewhere.
But he did. Like a random reporter is in a group chat that he's not supposed to be in.
So nobody knows him.
What I'm saying is that it's a group chat talking about classified details of a strike. It's not a group chat for reporters to enter, whether somebody know him or not. The reporter can't add himself to the chat.
So who added?
He thought he was getting like punked, for lack of better words. He thought this was like a joke. Like,
hey, why would this stuff even be in a group chat though? Like,
right.
This is my point. This is the what's this nigga's called? The Secretary of Defense.
Like, don't they have this?
But he's also a wild boy
and offices and stuff. But
wait, how do you feel about him, Head Chef? Like, he got the whole white supremacist, tattoos and shit like that. You rolling with him or?
I don't roll with nobody with white supremacist tattoos.
Yeah, nah. I don't know much about him. I would have to dig a little bit.
He was like a reporter or some shit, right? Like he wasn't even
he had a show on like a Saturday on one of the news channels. But I just know like they've shown his shirt off tattoos, and it had the whole I just thought it was interesting. But I think he also in his hearing he's a party boy. I guess that's maybe that's the best way to put it. He enjoys life and has a good time. But saying all that to say, I think that they were already questioning his credentials when it came down to who he was, what he's done, and his validity for the actual job. I don't know. It could be a hoax. It could be something accidental, or again, it could be they could be communicating like the Unpacked group chat when it comes to wartime. You never know. I don't know.
But at some level there is some secrecy. Like they're not discussing.
But like
it was an encrypted group chat through the Signal app,
which is crazy. It's like, the government use Signal. Oh, good to know. Like,
how do you think the information in there was like if they were on the ground? Like, first off, how would they be able to use that information against the troops that were there? Like, did the enemy have the ability to? I understand that.
If they're giving like real time strikes, then the enemy would know what they're doing.
And the reporter could have said, "Fuck this! I'm going rogue. Like I'm letting this go." Like the reporter doesn't have, like, at that point when the reporter has that information, he doesn't have to keep that a secret. They could let that shit fly. Like, here's what we know going down. We're about to go attack such and such and such. Somebody like that is just so like, bro. I don't even know how this is seen as like. I don't even know what.
I mean, no, I'm not saying that, G.
But you sound like you're saying it's not a big deal, or you.
I'm not. I never said it's not
dangerous.
Yeah, I never said it's not dangerous. Yeah, it's definitely dangerous. But I think there's like a way you can talk about it that's not like. I don't want to get into like any of the hyperbole compared to the other ones like that. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, like, do you think there's more of this going on? Or do you think
he's so new to the job? It can't be, but he ain't even. I mean, I don't even know how many strikes a nigga can have in 30 days. Like this, he's so new to the job. So it's not even like you can say, like, has it never happened before? Will it happen again? He's so new to all of this. And in his first few days of running the Department of Defense, this is the type of mistake that you make, and you leak this sort of precious information to the media of all people. Like,
well, if you said
the media know stuff like that, I kind of ask a question. So, like, all right, say this was a mistake of stupidity. What is the absolute worst thing that could happen?
That's what I was kind of getting at.
What if the information leaks? Like I said, the reporter. What if the reporter who has this information straight from the source prior to the plans taking place? I mean, this is the new world where once you get a piece of information, you a tweet away. Like,
so he got the info, he exposes it. What's the worst that can happen?
He gonna call somebody in Gaza on
all the reporter got to do. Mind you, the Atlantic is a very credible news source. Like, this isn't just some like backdoor.
You think he's gonna put that on a publication? No, he ain't gonna do that.
Well, yeah, I think they've leaked the quote unquote messages already.
But I mean, he's not gonna do it going to what during the strike though.
What A Black is asking, if you're saying in real time, what I would imagine would be that he could have just sold the information to the Houthis in Yemen. I want to say it is, and they would have actually known what was happening. To where they could have properly countered and killed American citizens or American military.
Or another thing
and I'll throw it to you. I think that another thing that was kind of spoken about was that if this is true, the worst case scenario is that 9 times out of 10, a lot of foreign agencies already have important information on America. That'd be the best way to put it. If they're just going through the Signal app, and this is like the level of encrypting that they're doing, then likely people that got like China and the people that Russia, the people that got the real hackers,
niggas might as well be on WhatsApp.
Yeah, right. They likely have like our agents, or not agents, but like head chef's phone tapped, and has just important information that they might be sharing. Especially if they're sharing things like this over phone.
What if this was the Osama strike, right? Like, would you have the same opinion then?
I don't think Osama should have been gotten like that. Osama been gotten or something like. I'm saying like, all right, I see the CIA names being revealed if that's true. Being, all right, their cover is blown in whatever country they're in. Although the CIA does a lot of shady stuff in these countries, causing division, causing civil wars. I'm asking, like, if the information is sensitive, it gets revealed, and somebody gets it, even still, what are they going to do to America?
I guess are you talking about it inside like the fall of? I don't think that this specifically would cause the fall of America. What is this? Adolf Hitler, like something like the loss of American lives, i.e., like pilots getting shot down.
But it's like our American lives. I mean, we're Americans, but lives are lives. So we've been bombing the hell out of Yemen for a while now.
So, but if that's your rationale, then basically, like, your rationale is saying that America deserves to be taken down. Like, that's your philosophy.
I'm not saying deserves, but I'm saying karma is karma. If we lost American lives because of this after bombing thousands over there for a long period of time, karma is karma.
But as an American, do you want your Secretary of Defense to be the reason as to why that incident happens?
I'm a human before I'm an American. So
okay. All right, here we go.
So it's like to me, my life is life, you know. So we got this power of being this evil empire around the world, having army bases around the world, having our hands in everybody's pot. If one time some shit gets twisted and we lose a few lives, then I'm go cry about it because I'm American, or I'm gonna ask why was y'all over there in the first place? Because nobody's asking that. Why were they over there in the first place to lose their life? Why are you in Yemen?
Johnny can probably tell us. Johnny, why are we in Yemen?
Oh well, it's our foreign policy. They trying to stop the Houthis, which I mean I agree with A-Black actually as far as like we shouldn't be over there messing with these people, but if we are and they are Americans, we should protect them. And like that's the least we can do as far as if you're gonna send them over there, like at least not have the information leaked so like it make it an easy kill for like the people that actually hate us out there for doing it. But yeah, there's a bigger question of why we are over there, and you know I don't necessarily agree with all our foreign policies and all the wars that we support and everything, so I can't necessarily say that like we're justified in being there. But as an American, I definitely think we should protect our people just on the principle of being American. But yeah, I definitely agree with what A-Black was saying as far as like you should probably just bring them people home. They probably shouldn't even be over there, but you got to protect them if they are.
Gotcha. All right, so I know Trey he's gonna have to take a quick intermission soon, so I think it's we'll start off and start our segue. He sent in a video, wanted us to play about a minute and a half of it. I think this will probably segue itself into Trey's new revelation about the gynocracy. Yeah. We'll get to it.
You know what I found out in America? Black man got to be 5 to 10 times better than a white man for a Black American woman to be attracted to it.
These Black wife videos have taught me I can lower my standards looks-wise for white men.
If you take a nerdy, lame white man who has no kind of swag, no kind of communication skills, no game or nothing, it's not going to be an issue for them. He's going to be the prize for them. But if you take that same reverse for the Black man, if he's a nerdy man, have no good communication skills, and he doesn't know how to dress, a Black woman sees no potential in him. A Black man down there has to be perfect in America for the average Black woman to like. This is full of thought. That's a fact. You can get mad all you want, but it's the truth. And I'm going to give you an example for a minute. Let's just talk about DDG for a minute. DDG is way richer than a white man who Halle Bailey's fans want to date. He's way richer. He has more swag, better communication skills. He was valedictorian in high school, and he makes way more money than Halle. But they still would prefer Halle to date an average YT man.
All right. What is she dating a white man or something?
Oh, she took a picture with a cast member, but people took that picture as if they were dating and like, oh, good for her. You know how they do when a Black woman with a white man, like she looks so happy, you deserve this. Well, they always associate the best when they with a white man. So it was that whole thing. It was just like a picture that kind of spiraled into this whole conversation of, Black women always kind of are happy when a Black woman gets with a white man. It's always this thing of, oh, she tried with niggas, but it didn't work out, and a white man treats you better and all this stuff. And it's kind of the same with.
But she wasn't with the white man though.
Was she with him?
Yeah.
No, they were just hoping that she was.
They was hoping they was like, oh, y'all look good together. That's what she need. All them type comments. They were kind of promoting it and encouraging her to be with him, but she was taking a picture with a cast member to something that she playing in.
And I think a sizable portion of the respondents being hopeful that they're together is more important than whether they're actually together or not. And also in that clip I was playing, the last part was a sister, one of our lovely women, in a car with a beer in the like a Modelo in the cup holder on the way to a construction site, talking about how she didn't want to do this for the brothers, but just something about the situation. She said maybe it's indoctrinated us from Willie Lynch effect. Like there was a moment of real, like her reality right there, but she just kind of glossed over hee ha ha. She was talking about, bringing Jose Modelo's.
It's crazy, right? It's because they value the white man more than they value the black man.
Something that is really funny is that I don't feel like black women or black men respect each other because, baby, I just got me a Hispanic little man, baby. And I mean, I got a bill waiting on him just in case. You thirsty? Because he just got off work. What you need? Like, what's the matter? Y'all, because I ain't never did that on my ex. And I mean, my ex used to spoil me too. And I was just like, oh my God. It might go back all the way to our ancestors, y'all. They're making us hate each other or whatever. Might be deep rooted, but baby, when I say, I'm trying to figure out how to make them comfortable. Man,
this nigga Trey, man. I don't.
Well, it's my fault. You gonna blame me somehow?
No, Trey. Yo, that black girl in no way is like a voice for black. Like that's such a like, bruh. I'm speechless. Like
any black woman that's talking to TikTok,
come on, bro.
Like she already look off.
Come on, bro. Like at the end of the day, what that nigga was saying is just a nigga struggling to get some pussy. He got to do better. It's too many niggas out here without nothing to their name, knocking them down, having babies.
This is a fact.
Like like getting fed too, nigga. Like they like getting cooked for, cleaned, like all the above. I know too many trash niggas out here getting those benefits for niggas to be online talking about I can't get no pussy. You got to do better.
I would just chime in that the field says the field says, and when you look around and see the results, I don't think average black women have really high standards. Like it's nothing that necessarily points to it. That like when you look at the results of what they're
every day.
I don't know. It's just my opinion.
But I think to add to G's point is it's guys with nothing getting everything, but because of that, those high standards become created. Once those women get tired of that, now they have these high extraordinary standards because they've given their best to somebody who don't deserve it. So now they're hopping on TikTok talking about what they deserve, what they want from a man, what he should make, because they already did a broke man. They already let him.
But when they get off TikTok, they be still with that 35, 40K guy.
But I think y'all.
I don't know like a bunch of black women that's just with high earners at all.
There's some truth to like what the guy was saying. Like I don't think it's just a thing of like not getting pussy, like because he can say that and still go get some coochie, and sex is sex. That's easy for all of us. I think most of us, but I think those attitudes do exist where a black man is being. You have to be like what they call top tier, high value, all these things. Like we all watched the balloon pop game, and it's been enough of a time where we're seeing a consistent pattern of what women want. But
is that like a minority of women, or because like let's just be, are there women out there with what we would call unrealistic or unreasonable expectations? No question, I agree. But generally speaking, most women are like they're available.
If he said the word average women, so like to me. Average women, if we just go by what average means, like we're talking about 5s and 6s. I just don't be seeing a field that demands a lot, like the 5s and 6s, like 8s and 9s. They do demand a lot, and those are the ones that you could look at.
You don't gotta be perfect. You just gotta be funny, little handsome. Like that's what I'm saying. Like they don't even want a nigga to be perfect. You just gotta like be competent.
But I would also say that I think that the balloon pop shows are probably not a fair representation on either side of the spectrum when it comes down to people in their dating choices at all.
Y'all don't get to say
a good
like
sample size.
Yeah,
niggas don't have to be perfect. Niggas got to have a little bit of money, got to make her laugh a little bit, and at the end of the day, you got to fuck her right. And if you do those three things, everything else can be worked with. Like I'm telling you,
you can have that, and the woman will still rock with you, but she'll still feel like you're not enough, and you're not her final dude. Like she'll deal with you in the meantime, but you're not her ideal. Essentially, like women have an ideal of what they want that most average men don't live up to, and I don't know. Like I said, I think y'all might have been out the dating game for a while.
Exactly.
These chicks is different, man. And social media, because for one, they're impressionable, they're easily influenced, and they're taking on the same thought patterns as being promoted out here. Like a lot of this stuff we wasn't hearing 10 years ago. Like, yeah, women like tall, dark, and handsome. That's always been a trope and stuff. But now they have a set finances. They have a set height. They have these set things. Like things are not different, and so it's always exceptions.
But how many of those women are getting close to getting any of those? And then I think that a lot of times we get caught up in when people ask what their ideals are.
They're not getting it. They get sex from those men, but then they go home to their roles and they get on TikTok and complain. They're not getting anybody that's consistently loving them, being faithful to them, and things like that. They can get sex as anytime, and they all know that, and they become disillusioned to it because they know they can always get the physical side. They can get a rich man.
You think women are looking for perfect niggas?
And they not getting with them white
average
dudes.
women, no.
Like if they get with them white dudes, it ain't to like love them unconditionally. It's they using them too.
Even the 8s and 9s not looking for perfect niggas. They looking for niggas who fit certain bills that can finance their lifestyle. Basically, like
that's the point.
They're looking for an aesthetic, man. Like that's
the point.
An aesthetic
doesn't mean
that's the point.
I'm not saying perfect. I ain't use that word.
But that's the point. Hear me out though. If I'm a black dude and I'm like, because I don't have what you said, you need a little swag. You need to be able to, have a little game. You have all these little like
just some confidence,
But you have a lot of these surface level attributes. But you are a competent guy. You have a vision. You are disciplined. You have all these skills that would make you a good father. And then you are getting out-competed by the men who don't have any of that, by the women that offer the little that you said, which is, those basic things.
But
and
they might be just more attracted to it.
But then they're being pursued by women who see that potential in them and then don't call them corny. And those women, a lot of times they aren't within our race. So do we get mad at that person for not? I understand, yeah, he needs to be able to develop more confidence, more social skills, get all that other stuff. But a lot of times, what if he just want to keep focusing on building his, dreams as a what they call it, a productive black man? And that's a lot of the people who they get women, but they don't want to have to compete with men who aren't.
That sounds like low self-esteem. I don't know. Like,
hear me out.
Niggas gotta compete. Like we out here.
But a lot of other cultures don't value like
men gotta compete in other cultures.
White dudes are scared to compete with black dudes. Like
every type of animal, males compete for women.
Like you don't
every
think
animal,
you don't think white
every
men
animal out there.
No, that's not. But I think it should be a fair. It needs to be a fair competition because unfortunately in other cultures they don't necessarily prioritize a lot of the things that women in our culture prioritize. At least their parents don't allow that. So
say this one more time.
We got to address that. A lot of these other cultures don't prioritize the same things that women in our culture prioritize. But the flip side of that,
I don't think it's all women in our culture.
Of course, not all, but that's what they always say. They say not all. They say you gay, you don't get none, you hate black women, you hate your mom. That's why I said I ain't really trying to talk about this really like that no more unless I'm asked the question. Because I love black women. I think black women have the most potential, like hands down, because it's a reflection of me as a black man. So anything I say is a criticism is from a place of love. But I think there are some things that have gone unaddressed. Unaddressed. Yeah, and we have. It's like painful to talk about.
But so hold on, Trey. Let me clarify. Are you saying men need to be on an equal competitive field in the dating space? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying the things that attract Black women don't
the things that become their priorities.
But isn't the same flip like if you flip it, men attracted to women, like all women ain't built the same. Some of them is going to be strategically disadvantaged compared to others who just have certain genetics. Like some niggas are 6'4", my nigga. Like I can't compete, say, with a nigga that's 6'4" on height, but I'm gonna kill him in everything else. It's just like you gotta just know that. Like it's like if a nigga got like that's just it. Like I might not have a 6-pack, but I got everything else. Like it don't matter. Like
can I say this? So like on both sides, I always get asked when I travel, you know, are the women better and stuff? And I don't think no women are better than the other. I think they're all different. But in our culture, what we experience in this, we have this toxic culture of every day the woman and the man is being told they're not enough. And because of social media, it's like gasoline on the fire. You know, the men, you don't have enough money, you're not tall enough, you're not swagged out enough, you don't got enough tattoos, you're not enough. The women, your butt not big enough, you're not light enough, you're not dark enough, you got too many kids, so both sides are being told constantly that they're not enough. The differences I see in other cultures is they value different things in a man and in a woman. And yeah, you care about looks, you care about being a provider in certain things, but they're not fixated as much on the surface. You know, like when I was in Africa, when I'm in Korea, when I'm in Italy, the competition that you guys were just talking about, I don't feel that. If a woman sees you, she don't care about your height. She cares more so about your character and your person.
But do you think that that's because of like you're
a provider? Don't get me wrong. And most men want to be a provider everywhere, but there's more focus on your character than your surface. Like they're not gonna cancel you out because they don't like the shirt you wearing or because you got an earring on the top of your ear. Like the little shit that we see in our culture, or because the woman, like her boobs sag a certain way, or she got this many kids. Like, you know, we cancel each other out for a lot of surface things instead of like who a person is, you know. And so that's where a lot of resentment is going back and forth. It's this constant battle of the sexes because nobody feels like they are enough for the other side.
Hey, Black, those examples you said are universal though, because I think in any culture, if a woman has too many kids or she's a certain age or anything like that, I think some cultures are a lot more harsh than they are in America. I think we have a very strong stepdaddy culture and Black society.
Yeah, and I mean, truthfully, also a lot of cultures, they don't care about character as long as the man can provide.
Yeah, but you also not getting a lot of stepdaddies or single mothers in some cultures because you have to talk to their dad first. You have to do certain things before you can even have sex and stuff. So it limits the frequency of the things that we're experiencing here, and that it exists everywhere, but not on the same level. Like imagine to have sex with a woman, you have to talk to her father first. You have to meet her family first. You have to have a certain amount of time. Most niggas here is not doing all that. I don't want to meet your family. Why? Because my intentions is not anything pure. My intentions is to fuck you. So if you place these barriers that we used to even have in the Black community back in the day, you know, you see less of what we're seeing now. And a lot of what we see now is leaving your kids being glorified, having only kids being glorified, having no father being glorified, lifting up the woman because she's doing it all, you know, being glorified, you know, men not being held accountable for not being around, and, you know, all these different things. So it's more of a cultural thing. It's a microcosm in America that we're experiencing, but every other culture has different barriers that try to prevent all of this stuff from happening. It might happen. Yeah, you got some people that have kids all over in other countries and stuff, but it's a lot more rules in a lot of places to get with a woman that we don't really have no more. We can go out,
and we're not talking about just Black culture. We're talking about like American culture.
And I guess real quick, shout out to Granville Richards show for the super chat. Again,
Shout
as
out
y'all
to
see,
the boy.
let me bring this down really quickly. But yeah, shout out Granville. He also has a really fire show. Does a lot of interviews with up and coming artists, comedians in the Charlotte area. He's been on Charlotte a couple times. Check the guy out. But y'all see inside everybody's inside their bubble or the box, the rectangle. Cash apps are there. You got G-ish podcast, GthaKing, CassiusTrey, Black is Gold, and J-Rock 989. Super chats, super thanks are all available. All super chats do get read immediately. And with that said, Johnny, I think that you was about to say something.
Oh, nah, I'm just a little like I don't know where we at, but I think like I don't see an issue with like black women not liking black men. Like I see a lot of black marriages in my, vicinity, even amongst our culture. Like, and that's what I really asked about. Like, are we talking about black culture or are we talking about American culture? Because like, I think a lot of the things we saying about not talking to the father and all that stuff that applies amongst like all these demographics here in America. It's more of like an American thing versus
That's like Western more than just American.
Yeah, or
Western,
even just
yeah.
Western culture versus like a problem with what's going on in the black community. I don't think I definitely don't think what we're talking about is an issue going on in our or black communities.
So
but,
you don't think our culture is unique? And within culture, you think our unique is the same? Like there's no cultural differences between the men or women
within the black community?
No,
hey, Johnny, before you answer, shout out Mama Sharon. Appreciate
shout
the
out Mama Sharon.
Again,
Make
sure y'all show love.
Love her and all
y'all see everybody's cash app. Y'all see the super thanks. Appreciate it, Johnny. You was going.
Oh, well, I was gonna say like I don't see like the issue like with like courting like courting women or like that being the issue like amongst our community, because that's the same thing that happens amongst all these demographics, even in America. Like it's more of a Western thing. I don't want to just put it on black people. I think we're just maybe blaming this.
But it's hard to just say Western because aren't Asian countries struggling with dating right now?
The westernized ones, yeah, like
Japan.
South Korea.
I think the Japans, the South Koreas, the ones that are part of.
They be having like whole
when I was in
intimacy.
South Korea, everybody had a man or a woman to the point of if you're single, if you're single, you're announced as single. This is Lu Mong. She's single. She has no husband. Like it is very.
Was it the same inside? Because Korea and like China and Japan, they're different. Like
they're very.
I know you've been around them. From what I've seen, like they have like full intimacy cafes in which you can pay somebody to like hold your hand and like do all these different almost. Well, you know how Asian culture is. Like they will almost automate a lot of human interaction.
They do weird things, but what I'm saying is they promote relationships more. Like it's not no flex to be single like it is here. Like people, I'm single, I do what I want. People post the quotes, all these things that kind of justify and validate being single. There is shame attached to being it. So
they call them leftovers.
But see, I would attribute that to like what Johnny was saying, American culture, because like with us, so like this isn't, and maybe maybe it is like so I'll speak like, and y'all can tell me if y'all think different, because as Black Americans, I think it's true for us. And honestly, I don't know if it's true for folks outside of the Black community. Now I think about it, it might be unique to us, but we get told to hold off on marriage. We get told to put careers first. Like no need to rush into that. Not just the men, but the women get told the same thing. Both sides are typically getting told, you too young to get married. You need to focus on career, finances, et cetera, et cetera. Do y'all disagree with that?
I think that's further than Black culture. I think that's just American culture. That's
I don't know, because do you think
like that's kind of the exact that's especially right now. There's like there's a big culture and push for what is it, white men to get married in their 40s. Like that's almost what the whole red pill shit is built off of, which is a white male and manosphere is built off, which is like Rollo Tomasi and all those guys is like these are based off of white male ideologies. All the biggest creators that are pushing this whole idea of whether it's no marriage or like getting married later to like 22 and 23-year-olds as men. Like it's a full push for that that came before. Well, Kevin Samuels is for marriage, so you can't really say him. But yeah, like that whole community that just had that big run for the past 3 years, they all push white men to get married later.
Kevin Samuels was for marriage, but also was for like
black family.
So like Kevin Samuels was like, you should be getting married.
Yeah, that's why I didn't.
That's what the problem is. Yeah. But yeah, so okay, maybe it is an American thing, but I don't think Black point. I don't think it applies to the Asians.
White women aren't getting married a lot younger than black women.
Yeah. White women are though. Asians probably are like Chinese and Indian women. I think they are getting married younger.
Oh yeah, but that's something different.
Yeah, but you're saying the average white American woman is getting married around the same age.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Yeah, I don't know a lot of white people, but at least in my neighborhood and in my gym that I go to the most, where I see white people, they be married. Like the white women, they all got husbands. It don't matter how they look. Like they look at marriage as also like a business. No, I'm just saying, like I'm like, damn, like they look at it as like a business thing. Like, marriage is a business, it's a partnership. I'm gonna build myself up, I'm gonna get me a wife at home. And they seem to still prioritize marriage.
But a lot of these white women be on their second and third husband too, though. Like a lot of them use
yeah, it's a 2-year difference.
Married though.
So white women is 28, black women is 30.
Okay. I mean,
it's not
the white women.
Yeah. So that's the average. So that means you got a lot of them that's getting married younger.
No, I'm seeing something different. I'm saying 26, and then black women 30.
Where you seeing? I'll
just share Google AI.
I'll just give examples.
If you break it down,
don't be cheating for them.
Average age of white women when they get married.
Man, I didn't put white women in there. I just put the average age of women's first marriage by race.
Yeah, this is right here. Well, this says median actually as well.
If you break it down by bigger cities, metropolis cities, it's people getting married less in those cities. You go to New York, LA, I feel like you find more single women than when you in like smaller towns or southern towns. Like people seem to settle faster.
But the marriage rate in America in general is declining. Like it's not like specific to the black community at all.
It's not specific to the black community. Like we haven't.
It's just literally an American
across
problem.
The board.
So black women are the least married.
It's culture. It's a cultural thing.
Black women are, but at the same time, like marriage rates across the board. I think since no fault divorce, it might have been like the big peak was around the 70s, and then it's kind of literally did this when it comes down to American marriage rates. Divorce rates are kind of plateaued and kind of stayed consistent since like maybe close to like the 90s and early 2000s. It's 50 small variation, but you said what?
I said it's just 50. Marriage is 50-50 at this point.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, the marriage, like people getting married, the rate of people getting married has been declining.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
Same difference with like the white people and them not getting married and them not having kids and them not getting married early enough. That's the whole great replacement shit.
I'm saying that 33% of black adults are married, 48% of Hispanics, and 57% of whites. So it's not like neck and neck. But it is declining overall, though.
We also got to take into account that marriage, especially for women, for a long time was a survival thing, like because women couldn't do so much without it. So you got feminism, you got this independent thing and this easy access culture where you don't necessarily need marriage no more. You don't need to be married to get a bank account or to buy a house or to do a lot of things that women had to be married for. You don't need it necessarily for protection as well. Like women live in gated communities and apartment complexes, and they have guns and they have mace, and they can work for themselves. So the need for it
property,
the need for it is not as strong because it's not that survival point of it is kind of been declining as well, where it used to be more of a necessity. Like if I don't get married, I'm gonna be short out here. It's that don't really exist as much in our culture.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I guess I'll throw this back to you, pause. But I'll send this statement back to you. But now it was a wild one. I caught myself. But damn, that almost threw me off. You were talking about necessity of it. And going to your statements about people in other countries. I believe that deals with another piece of when you travel and what you see is that there are still, like, we're a first world country, a very modern country that has the luxuries of women to actually have everything that you just stated. And where a lot of those countries, it's still based off of a bit of security. And like when you're going for security, you can overlook like certain things, and where, you know, maybe character, but oftentimes, a lot of times, finances ends up being like the top of the totem pole.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of women don't have the same opportunities that our women have in the financial realm, and you know, also it's a form of protection to have a husband in a lot of places. You know, like if you don't have a husband, in a lot of places, you become public property. You might become a prostitute. You might, you know, you just open yourself up to a lot more unsavory lifestyles or whatever. So it is security, but it, you know, then you also have religion in certain places, the family aspect, because a lot of women still value in other places having children, having a family, where being married is the biggest accomplishment for them. Whereas in our culture, you know, that's third or fourth on a lot of women's list here. You know, they want their career, they want their house, they want to travel the world, have a hot girl era. They want to do all these things before they get married. Whereas the thinking in a lot of places is nothing is more important than marriage to me. You know, so there is that security thing for sure, but I think it's also of what you value, and a lot of them value family, creating a family, having children. There's no fear behind it. Like they really want kids, they really want a husband. Whereas here, a lot of that is, I want to say, looked down upon, but kind of pushed to the side of like, let me do all these other things first, and then I'll look to that. And then they kind of get to a certain age where it's like it becomes harder for them because they didn't really look for it in their prime, you know. So now they're having to compete with younger women, with women without children, with women who haven't been with a certain amount of men in these things. So
it's like being without a man is like a luxury that you only really get in countries like America, because like TBI said, during the pandemic, you saw, you know, it proved that women needed men. And if there's like an economic downturn or anything happens with these houses that they were bragging about buying and everything like that, you know what I mean? If that goes left, then I think we're going to see a lot less of the I don't need a man type situation.
They was bragging about buying houses, Trey.
Hey, the woman with a house.
Damn,
we about to see a
you don't think that like buying a house is
about buying houses? Damn,
no,
what you doing with that house, girl?
Depends on where.
Well, you know, Trey, he ain't really for women owning property.
That
he
shit
real
make
old
a nigga
school.
sick. Oh, not another one in ball house. Damn.
I know, bro. I know the jokes are way funnier than, like, you don't want to let a good joke get in the way of, like, you know, the truth, like they say. But what I mean by that is, if you sign a mortgage and it's not a wise decision to make, if you're buying a house during like one of the worst possible times to buy a house.
The pandemic?
Did you think the pandemic was the worst time to buy a house?
That was literally the best time to buy a house.
You could roll it
right. During the pandemic was a good time to buy a house. I'm not talking about
that's
that.
not why they did.
There were.
I think you said during the pandemic they was bragging about buying a house.
Those are two different points. During the pandemic, when people didn't have their jobs anymore, and a lot of that was going on, then you saw a lot more women, you know, wanting men and that type. You saw a lot of energy go away. I remember seeing that, but I'm saying the housing situation is after the pandemic. we continue to see people buy houses in an overinflated market with interest rates that weren't the most advantageous that they've been. And then if those things turn in a different direction with the tariffs and the economy changes, then you're going to see things shift, and a lot of those decisions may end up biting some people. I hope it doesn't, but that's why a lot of men weren't. They were like, look at the rates, look at the price of the house, it's inflated. Is it?
I can't let that ride, Trey. Pause. That's not a what you're saying. I'm not saying isn't true, but this idea that the right time to buy a house based off the interest rate or whatever is a fallacy. It's just the reality. Like the reality of housing, especially in markets like where you stay in the Triangle in North Carolina, housing doesn't go down over time. It only goes up. Like the cost of living for the same unit, whether it's 1,000 square feet, that price today versus next year, the year after that, the year after that, the year after that, the price of the house will not go down.
Yeah, and if you bought a house within the past 3 years, you're likely up at least 100 to 150K.
Interest rates fluctuate, but housing prices are not fluctuating.
And you can always refinance. You can
always refinance.
The reality is that you also won't see COVID interest rates likely for another 20, 30 years.
Those are like during COVID, bro. I'm not talking about during COVID.
I'm talking about right after COVID too.
Yeah, I'm talking about like 21, 22.
Like I'm talking about 23. I'm talking about 24 when interest rates was at an all-time high. When interest rates was almost like on mortgages was like 7, 8% almost.
8, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Q. That's only what I'm talking about.
You could have waited, say, when interest rates were 7, 8%, but that same house you want, you're not going to be able to go for it. Like it's just the way the market is. So it's like if you are in the market for a $300,000 house and the interest rate is 8%, you thinking that you're going to get that same thing for $300,000 in 3 to 5 years for a lower interest rate? I would just say,
well, no, you're probably going to be getting.
Show me when it happens.
Yeah.
So, is there ever a bad time to buy a house? I mean, is there ever a bad deal? Like, is there a bad?
There are bad deals. You can overpay based off of demand in the market. You can be outpriced because there's a bidding war. Because like that's what was really going on. Like when it's like
that's what I'm talking about, G.
But that's different. That's different. Like you had out-of-state people doing cash.
But no, because when those interest rates were at 8%, there were no bidding wars. So that's not the same thing. Like the market.
So these corporations weren't buying houses sight unseen, overpaying for what they're worth, and
like the corporations, like that's his own different thing. The bidding war was coming from like New York, Cali, and Texas people who were doing cash pay. Who were doing cash payments.
We talking about black women owning homes. They were paying owning homes.
Yeah, they were paying like 30K over asking price. They was paying like 40K over asking price. Just because of them moving to North Carolina and their salary and what they were already paying, it was going to be a big drop regardless. But again, like those are like times that come once in a lifetime almost. You're like outside of a pandemic, you're not going to get that big of an influx of people coming from Cali that still are keeping Cali wages to North Carolina. People that's coming from New York that's still keeping New York wages. And that's why like they were overinflating the market by like 30, 40K. But it wasn't no like North Carolinians that was bidding inside these wars when it came down to this. These were cash buyers from out of state.
But there's a lot of reasons it was a bad time to buy. Like then they had the lumber shortage where there was supply chains that was causing.
Nah, bro, I'm telling you, Trey. Like that's not. It's just what you're saying. What you're saying is just not true. It's just not true,
bro. That's what I'm saying.
And those black women wouldn't be buying them shits. Like they wouldn't have been getting those new homes.
Hear me out. But it's not just black women. I think a lot of people who bought houses during this window of time, and then like they bought a house and the property values were a certain rate, and then they put a house on it, so they kind of got finessed into paying what they assume would be a lower payment, but the payment ended up going. I'm saying that happened a lot. I'm saying where people.
I don't know a lot of people that lost money like when they sold their house. Like inside the past 5 years, I really don't know
All
Like
the
you're
black women,
making
I
I think it
know,
was a good time to
all
do
the
it.
black women I know that buy houses doing all right.
There is no such like TBI talking about buyer's market, seller's market. Yeah, like there's always dynamics at play where one side is going to have a more favorable advantage because of the overall demand and supply that's in the market. If there are more houses on the market than people want to have, then one side has an advantage and vice versa. So
they'll
like
start throwing the little deals, the little more the interest rate deals you could buy down, or they'll throw you like 30K incentives.
exactly
right. This is the seller's market right now. Would you say?
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about buyers versus sellers markets. That doesn't dictate when it's time for a buyer to buy. That's the point I'm making. Like, if you want to own a home and you think the cost of owning that home will decrease as you wait, you are kidding yourself. It's just that simple.
It just goes like this.
Can the interest rate fluctuate? Yes, it
depends on
will.
how much you paying, bro.
But the interest rate is like interest rate is probably what you're most talking about.
That's the only thing that matters.
And the reality is that with that, like the interest rate fluctuation is just going to determine like whether you're buying at 200K, 300K, 400K, 500K when they do the mortgage breakdown. And then you see if you have I forget what the little thing is, but pretty much a 30-year income.
You know, the other thing that comes with a lower interest rate, more buyers in the market competing for the same properties. So it's like,
we kind of inside like a hell of a wormhole right now. Let me try and steer us back right. We're almost turning.
But we can't be telling people it's a bad time to buy homes if they want to be homeowners. That's
shout out the business real quick.
You can't be telling people it's never a bad time though, bro.
And if you are interested, hey, reach out to Live Love Durham. We can help you with your real estate investment needs, whether that be residential, commercial, you name it. We got it for you.
It ain't tricking if you got it.
This is a capitalist in you.
Oh, nigga, you damn right. I'm no shame to be a capitalist. No shame, my brother. I'm not one of these niggas out here talking about we need to kill capitalism. That's not G.
Hey, fellas. All right, so let's start making this segue over to this masculinity, the femininity conversation. I do have
say one thing real quick, Q. Can I just say one thing?
They're gonna buy, bro. Go ahead.
I purchased my first property for $97,000 in 2017. I close on it this Friday, and I'm going to profit over $100,000. Just give it up for G. That's all I want to let y'all know. When you
give yourself that round of applause.
Let me do that too. I'm going to profit $100K once this deal closes. So I just want to speak from experience, not from like I heard this, I heard that. I'm trying to tell y'all, if home ownership is a goal of yours, do not lie to yourself and tell yourself that it's going to be cheaper and more attainable in 3 to 5 years. That's all.
The reality is that you really should just find out how much you can buy and buy that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of times our eyes are bigger than what they need to be, but there's a starter home sometimes that you might have to get in, build that equity. And then in 5 years, you can fuck around and cash out 50, 100, 70K. And now that's your new down payment to go towards that actual house that you really, really want. But again, this is like Johnny, how you say that word? We're not earn your leisure. We don't give out fiduciary.
Fiduciary.
There we go. Right, there we go. That's how we say that word. But all right, so masculinity. There has been a couple viral things that have went over the past week. I'll play one. Our guy, I think he's Iron Man, maybe Anthony Mackie. He had
Captain America.
Captain America. Okay. Yeah, I'm not good at anything Marvel, but he had a piece, and I'll play another meme after this. But
years we've been living through the death of the American male. They have literally killed masculinity in our homes and our communities for one reason or another. But I raised my boys to be young men. And however you feel about that, you feel about that. So for me, it's always that idea of American masculinity is very different. You feel it when you go to Europe. Like you see these, and you're like, could bust your ass, boy. In the past 20 years,
this isn't the one that I've seen, but he had one where he was talking about how he raises kids, and
that's a good one though.
If y'all are familiar with it, if I can find it really quickly. Of course, you know the internet does internet as well, and they also did kind of pull out this right here. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Black Mirror, but if you're familiar with the episode,
man, that one was too crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you, that was.
But saying all that to say, I think that if I was to try to summarize his take on what he was saying that he trains his boys to be boys, not boys to be men, where you know, he's out acting often, and when he's not there, he has a 15-year-old son, and he tells them, you know, make sure the doors is locked, make sure when you go to sleep and when you wake up, you call and text me, XYZ. He also talked about teaching his kids not to be, I guess, caught up in materialism. Like he doesn't buy them Jordans, anything like that. He kind of alluded to like he give his kids whoopings. His sons, he keep them in line. The first one makes sure the other one's in line, like a, you know, militant dad type style. But yeah, nonetheless, the internet kind of reacted. There were some people favorable, some people unfavorable. Also in masculine news, fellas, how's y'all morning routine? The muscle man, he is, I believe his name is Ashton Hall. Thank you, Johnny. He's been viral for the masculine morning routine that he has. I don't know if y'all are familiar.
I ain't seen this.
You got to get a bowl.
Have you seen anybody with like tape over their mouth or with a nose guard?
I have seen people putting their face in ice water. Yeah,
it all comes from that.
Oh wow.
Oh yeah, he a funny boy. He a wild boy. That's
I ain't seen that.
To me, I ain't
Can you explain what's the masculinity in putting your face in ice water? Like that's just some cold shit.
Hey,
if I can find,
if I can be real, it was the most sassiest looking masculine dude.
I think he's like a masculine coach.
He
like, you can't say. Well, let me see if I can find it.
Bro, like imagine setting up a camera and then going to do some like. Now I'm a flex, like that's not masculine, bro. Like that's he was like, now come in on, like, oh no.
He was doing like a get ready with me. Nonetheless, that's
not a masculine thing.
Yeah,
to do.
Just
like
by
what
default,
man does get ready with me.
Yeah, let me.
That's already feminine.
Yeah.
Outfit of the day, ass man.
Yo, was that the guy that was getting butt broken in that Twisted Metal Black Book episode? Is that the one?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Anthony Mackie?
Butt broken?
that is Anthony. That's what I had also alluded to. But
yeah, I didn't even think about that show when he was going on those. Like, cause I agree with he's saying. But yeah, that Black Mirror episode was wild.
That show made me not watch Black Mirror ever again. I said this shit is too weird, bro.
See, the thing that fucked me up is he telling his kids to go be masculine and he on that shit, and then he going to act and leave the house to go play a role like that. And then
he probably overcompensating.
Hey, that's because I didn't know about that. I ain't put two and two together.
You think he did something strange to get a role or something?
But no, I'm just saying, like you're playing a role, so your kids see, like his kids probably got Netflix and they see their daddy do that role. So then when he come home, you gotta really like, I'm not that.
You think they say? You think they mention it under their breath?
Nonetheless, this is the guy right here.
This is not the most masculine nigga ever.
The production is immaculate. How many camera angles this nigga got?
All right.
So we're gonna be serious about the Lord's business.
This is audition tape for a Tyler Perry movie.
Bro, this is not masculine, bro.
This is a metrosexual.
Who said that? Who said that this was masculine?
This ain't got nothing to do with masculinity.
He just got muscles, but like
yeah, he just swole. He ain't masculine.
I think
swole
that
and metro than a motherfucker.
This is what the internet's been saying. I think that
masculinity.
Right. I think that maybe he's a masculinity coach, and that's where everybody gets that from.
Metrolinity.
Is
he a content creator, which is a new word for narcissist. And
real ain't gonna like
why are you recording yourself?
Yeah, we're real at, man.
And like we don't need to see you get ready, bro. If you go get some real information on it,
not with that many angles too.
It's
bro.
a lot of vanity that's going into this thing. Like
you know what's going on though? It was clearly an advertisement for that whatever water that he was drinking, because I heard the sales are going crazy on it.
And
I think
hopefully getting some of that.
Okay, it can be an ad, but it's not an ad for masculine. It's a water ad. It ain't a masculine.
It's a water ad.
Yeah, because
that's why he did it though.
Come on, man.
Because he was trying to prove he was masculine. He was trying to sell some water.
Even when I was in Mexico, I ain't brushed my teeth with the bottled water. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like brushing your teeth with the bottled water.
Yeah,
right. We talking about it, right?
Dipping your face in the bottled water.
He also was like he cleaned his. I think he does the face scrub with a banana that he freshly ate. Like he do.
That's why niggas been rubbing banana on it.
Yes. All right. See you seeing all the remnants of it.
Niggas I was like, oh my goodness.
That sounds like marketing genius, bro. Like you seen the effects of his ad, but you didn't even know what the ad was about. But we still talking about it now.
We're not talking about it being a marketing ad. We're talking about if it's masculine or not.
We talking about
it. Not masculine.
Like I agree. It's great.
Nah, Trey, I know you don't think that's masculine. His hands was too clean.
Marketing, bro. But
nah, it's great.
All right, fellas.
We talking about masculinity. Like we ain't talking about marketing. Like I get it.
Men don't belong in bathrooms, right, Trey?
Men don't belong in bathrooms.
They belong in certain. They belong in the right bathroom.
A clean man is a feminine man. Man got to be outside dirty, right?
Bro, so too much color.
All right, fellas, let me throw you out to the question before we go completely off.
Come on.
All right, so I'll ask y'all this first to kind of just start to unpack the conversation. Is there a crisis of masculinity and femininity?
Clearly.
Yeah, bro. We got Supreme Court justices that can't even tell you what a woman is.
I'll say clearly, just based on that, like whatever that dude just did got misconstrued as masculinity. If that don't tell you,
nobody said that was masculine.
Yeah, I think he's like a masculine coach, and so they label
that dude is a masculine coach. If that don't tell you there's a attack on, like, yes, because that's not, he's not the most, like those videos aren't.
We don't know that
those videos.
Well, help me understand. So Johnny, I guess what
he's not masculine, huh?
So Johnny, what exactly? Because it seemed like you really don't like it's something about him that you really feel feminine about. What is that like? What are you seeing in him that to you?
Well, like
it's crisis of masculinity.
Like when I think of masculine, I don't think of aesthetic. G, like I don't think like the masculine men, like and go to like Rail's point and some of that. The masculine men that I think of, they not worried about how it look. They just get it done. They're not worried about it.
Like brushing your teeth and washing your face.
Bro, he had ice water and poured a bottle glass.
Well, he was extra with it, but I mean,
but that's what we care about. Everybody wash their face. Don't everybody wash their face in glass ice water with glass water? That's what feminine about.
Right, but what
was selling water, bro? Like that's not the least masculine thing he could have done for this effectiveness. You know what I mean? We got dudes throwing on dresses and stuff. You know what I mean?
I don't agree with that either. Like I ain't gonna go say
that. But so you saying because he cleaned his face with expensive water, that was the feminine part,
bro?
Non-masculine.
It's the ice. It's the glass bottle to dump in his face. That's not how you wash your face. You wash your face. You get the alcohol. We all know how to wash.
You gotta wash your face with a dirty rag, nigga.
You get a cotton.
Just hanging from the shower. Tell him, Johnny.
But like that's. I ain't say this, Mac, but that's not the definition.
So the man never put his head in the water, right?
But that's not the definition of masculine that I know to be.
What is the definition of like? Help me. All right, so you going?
Real men don't put their face in water.
So you saying because he dumped his face in water, that was the thing that stood out to you as non-masculine?
Oh no, there was a whole bunch. That's just the one that got everybody. Like that's just the.
So what are you saying? Like he it looked like he went out and did some push-ups. He got up, wrote in his journal, listened to some Bible quotes or something like that. Like what are the things that you're saying was like unmasking? He dumped his face in water. You ain't like that part because it was clean water.
Well, no, I mean, I guess he could be like he might be a masculine person, but I'm saying the video. That's not like I don't look at that and think, oh, that's masculinity. Like the different angle. Like I don't think any of the content creator stuff. I don't look at that as like masculinity. When I think of masculinity, I think of you just go and you get it done, and you just But like, I mean, I ain't saying he's not. I'm not saying he's feminine or he's anything, but I'm just saying I watched that video, and I didn't think, oh, that's. He reminded me of my father, my granddaddy, any of the masculine people in my life that I know. It don't look nothing like that, and that's all I'm saying. Is I mean, he might be the most masculine dude outside of the video when the camera go off, but what I just saw did not amplify masculinity to me.
And so for you, what does shout out to TBI? So self-care is feminine. So for you, what does masculine look like then?
I mean, I think masculine. It looks like sacrifice. It looks like taking care. I mean, you have to take care of yourself in order to be the best person for other people. But masculinity is like you're willing to take care of other people, like kind of at your own expense. You're willing to sacrifice for your family, your community, your people. That to me, that's what it looks like. But I don't think there's a certain aesthetic. I don't have a certain aesthetic of what I think masculine outside of like what my father was or like the people.
But I get like because if you like you were saying that was clearly not masculine. But if you're saying it's just sacrifice, I don't know, help me understand. Like in there was no place that he would either be or not sacrificing at all that you could tell if he was masculine or not. Then, if you're saying it's sacrifice.
Well, I mean, I just ain't like the video. Maybe that's it. Like I just say like maybe like I ain't say he. Like I said, I ain't say he.
All right, so now go. All right, so
necessarily like the video. Like I didn't watch that video and was like, I got it. Like I just didn't really like it. Like I just saw it and was like,
Nah, yeah, I understand.
It was kind of crazy.
I think you have like the same feel as like probably all of us when we seen it. It's like some funny shit. He look kind of weird doing weird shit. But yeah, going back to the question. So for you, you're saying that outside of like sacrifice, that's pretty much what you look at as masculine. Which I mean, so
I think there's a certain
woman sacrifice as well. I don't know.
I think there's a certain level of stoicism that comes with it. There's a certain level of
they say black women real masculine.
I ain't say that, but I mean, because I think. But I mean, but like, there's a different level of sacrifice. I think like the man it's more of a physical sacrifice. Like when somebody breaks into the house, there's a man that's gonna go downstairs. You're gonna put your body on the line. Like there's a person that takes out the trash. Like there's more of a physical sacrifice. I'll put my body on the line for the family. Where women, I ain't saying they don't sacrifice, but it's a different type of sacrifice. Where the masculinity is, I'm willing to put my physical. I'm willing to die for this family. I'm willing to put everything on the line in the physical sense for this family. I think that's to me kind of where I see masculinity.
Hey, Black, talk to us, brother. What is masculinity? How do you kind of see that?
So I see masculinity, as one being keeping your word, being like a man of honor. That's like I feel like a pillar of masculinity is doing what you say you're going to do, keeping your word, being able to provide and protect. I don't necessarily, I want to say physical sacrifice and stuff. Like I've had blue collar jobs. Like I worked at the airline outside doing physical work, and it was gay feminine guys out there, strong, doing the work, sacrificing their body, but still nothing masculine about them. So I feel like there's less of a vanity attached to it, like we saw with that video. I feel like being clean and hygienic is one thing, but you add the vanity inside of it, which is showing it off and things like that. That's more of a feminine trait. Masculinity is being in control of your emotions, not letting your emotions rule you. Having emotions is cool, and expressing emotion is cool, but masculine men don't let them rule you. That's also more of a feminine thing. They are more emotional. And then, you know, being able to lead and take charge. And that's why we are saying, like, a lot of our women are masculine now. It's not because of how they look. It's them leading, it's them taking charge, it's them being aggressive in their decision making, and all of these things are attributed to masculinity because these are traits that, you know, men have traditionally displayed. So this is why they say, oh, the woman is masculine because she won't listen to a man anymore, or she wants to do what she wants to do. And these are things that typically men do. We do what we want to do. We lead, we take charge, we are decisive. So these are, you know, traits of, you know, masculinity. I don't think it's too much of a physical thing. Of course, you don't want to carry yourself in a way that a woman does, but then you look at big muscular men like the guy that's always dancing. What's his name? The dancing gorilla dude or something like that.
Dancing Nigerian or something.
Whatever. You don't see him as particularly masculine. You know, he still has like a lot of feminine qualities. Like even at the gym I go to, there's some huge buff guys, and they're like, you know, super LGBT.
Fucking Terry Crews.
Terry Crews. I mean, Terry
I guess
got some masculine things about him, but he has moments, I guess, as well. But overall, I feel like he's masculine as far as this being a family man and taking care of his children and providing the things. But he's done some questionable stuff to make his money. I would say it's more on the cooning side versus like.
Well, he also had that white man at that show that did something with him.
Grabbed his knee.
Yeah. Well, I didn't specifically want.
It's crazy. That's not masculine. I'm sorry.
All right, so but real quick, that's not masculine. I guess in listening to you, a lot of what you said, kind of like the example that you gave with like the airline, sound like it fell with being like having good values and morals, like saying your word XYZ, in which I imagine like a gay man then can exhibit like a guy that is outwardly feminine could exhibit those same things, or do you disagree? Which will saying that to say like what makes it masculine?
You have masculine gay men, or what they would say masculine presenting gay men, I guess.
But I'm saying like if they're not presenting masculine, but because a lot of what you said was more moral based.
Well,
and not like how you present.
It might be a stereotype, but what's usually attributed to gay men is them being messy, meaning like
or them being enthusiastic.
They don't keep their word, or they lie, or they gossip, or they do things that are not masculine things. And it might be a stereotype or a trope, but you typically see that being placed upon gay men, that he messy, you know, he always in somebody's business, he lying about this, or he talking about women. You know, these are things that masculine men don't do.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
man, if we talking about death,
and then also really quickly before I'm gonna throw right to you. I guess I've heard protect and provide. I think you and Johnny both said it. So just asking this question just for clarity. So if a guy doesn't pay all the bills, does that make him less masculine? And also, I guess if he's never like stopped an intruder from coming in and breaking in the house, like if he's never had to exercise,
if he's never, but it's about a willingness, and like protection, and protection is.
But like if you've never had to, it's like somebody being like, "Well, I can fight," and then somebody be like, "You ever fought?" But I would though. But like,
as a woman,
but there's a mindset that have
feeling safe. Do you make the woman feel safe? You might not be presented with like.
So it's not the extreme of that example as much as long as she actually feels safe.
It's not even all that, bro. Because there's a lot of preventative measures that you should take before it even gets to that. That's why you
Make-
need them to be able to
Make
listen.
sure the doors. Make sure you go down. Make sure the doors is locked.
And a woman that wants to protect
locking
you,
doors shouldn't be.
A woman that wants to protect you is not gonna put you in situations where you gotta prove that your physical self are be fighting out here. But at the same time, she wants to feel like you a protector, and protector is not always physical either. You know, like it's other ways to protect women. You know, it might be protecting them from your own mom or something crazy.
Yeah,
Women
mental
just want to feel
warfare.
safe and feel.
And I get you. And I guess the second part was so can you be going 50-50 and be masculine? Can your woman be paying bills and you be masculine?
I think so. I mean, like I say, it depends on how you communicate it, your situation. You know, you can still be a leader in your household, but you also might have a woman that's gainfully employed or loves her career and makes a lot of money, and it makes sense for her to help you out. You know, so
how big is the provider part when it comes to like actually like masculinity?
Like I know women that make more than their man, and they still let him lead. You know, I think it's about the intent in his nature. Is he making less, but also sitting at home all day playing video games with no ambition or trying to? Or does he still work hard and he go to the warehouse and he might only make $40K a year and she might be in tech making $120K, but she still lets him lead and dictate the household and the finances, but they just happen to make more, but she sees the masculinity in him, you know, and everybody's situation is different.
So would that be saying like provider isn't as? Go ahead, Johnny.
Well, outside of being a provider, I think what we may be speaking to that's a better word than protector and provider is just a leader, and I think that is something that's masculine. I think leadership is something that, like, even in the Bible, leadership is something that's spoke of as far as the man is supposed to be the leader, and with leadership, it's not just physical, but you have to have diplomacy, you have to have emotional intelligence. There's a lot of things that could be construed as like feminine in the extremes, but in small doses, it leads to like great leadership. And I think like there's certain traits that all leaders have to have. And I think leadership is a masculine, quality. To be able to be the leader of your family is what all men. Well, that's what all men strive for. Is like to have a wife, a kid, a couple kids, 3, how many kids, and you want to be the leader of that family, no matter how you have to do it. That's what every man on this planet, strives for, is to be the leader of their family.
Do you think we're like prepared for those types of roles, and is that what's pushed, or do we talk about making sure that you're never in a situation where you have to need somebody? So make sure you have your own money, that type of situation. Because a marriage.
Self sufficiency doesn't necessarily mean you can't ever have a leader, or like even self-sufficient people, like even Michael Jordan was coached by Phil Jackson. So like even like you can be the most self-sufficient, but like leadership is something that and the way it's set up, the man is supposed to, even if you're the most sufficient man, you're supposed to seek your leadership from God. So like none of us like are like going to be without leadership, no matter how self-sufficient we are.
My fault. What I'm getting at, do you think the men are raised? Let's just not say with Black culture. You think boys are raised to be leaders and women are being raised to accept the man's leadership, or have we gone away from that?
In this culture, we might have gone away from it a little bit, but like as American culture, I think there is a divide. But I think if we look at like who we voted for presidents, we've had chances. The country had chances on 2 occasions recently to speak on whether they wanted a woman president, and the country spoke on what they really want. So,
well, technically, one woman did get the popular vote, but the thing with masculinity, right? Like, I think we kind of boiled it to like men versus women, when in my opinion, it's more of an energy than like a gender assignment thing. So it's like,
oh shit, that sounds like the tea talk.
I don't even know what that means, because
it's diabolical.
Because at the end of the day,
Transformers pretty much.
So
Michael Bay.
I believe that like because so like it's like the yin and the yang, like nothing's 100%, right? So like if as a man and as a father, they say it's feminine to be nurturing, but do you not ever nurture as a father? You see what I'm saying? You need to be able to tap into that ability in certain time periods. And so I think
that's not what makes a man though.
No, I didn't say that is. Be clear what I'm speaking to, or what I define as masculine versus feminine. This is what I see that, and that's where I'm trying to separate it, where women carry masculine and feminine energy, men carry masculine and feminine energy. Like both men and women carry these two energies. In theory, if things are balanced well, you know, she is tapped into her feminine energy, not her masculine energy. In theory. Same thing with the man. He's tapped into his masculine energy, not his feminine energy. But so we look at how that manifests itself, an example could be, say, if a man is more tapped into his feminine energy, he is more of a follower than a leader. He is more of someone who likes to seek other people's approval versus stand on his own. He is someone who just is not accountable. And we would look at that as like whatever, but that's to me is like, say, more feminine energy type of man. And then vice versa, say with women, you have some women who have more of a masculine energy, always want to lead, can't never take a back seat, always want to compete. Like that's a masculine energy. Men who don't want to compete is like a feminine energy. You get what I'm saying? So like, so it's an energy that is masculine versus feminine. And I think to really like, for things to be in harmony, everything has to balance, where women are really in harmony with their feminine energy, which I think today they're being more raised to be more masculine. I do think that. And men, I think, are being raised to be more feminine, not more masculine. And so I think that's like where there's an imbalance there, but that's like my opinion of how I personally define masculinity versus femininity.
Gotcha. Trey.
Then you said a lot I disagree with, but then you brought it home at the end, G. I kind of lost. First, Terry said stay out the feminist lane as far as like not the feminist lane, the woman's lane as far as men being nurturing, because it's not going to be the same as a woman. But you already said that
yeah, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah, but if you have a son or a daughter, like there's a part where
and it's like
you nurture them,
and the mom's going to have to be a disciplinarian if the father's not in the house.
But
that's you can't wait for dad to come home to lay the law down. She can't always afford to do that.
But that's not going to be the same either.
Nothing's going to be the same. But what I'm saying is, that energy is different than what maybe be like that's the it's more associated with a certain energy, like that's that feminine energy is the nurturing, take care of you energy, and that disciplinary energy is going to be more of a masculine energy. That's like how I'm kind of framing it. So I'm not saying it's going to be the same from whomever, but what I'm simply saying is both people carry masculine and feminine energy. They just use it differently.
So it sounds like, I think we can all agree that we've dealt with external forces that have maybe shifted that yin and yang that we know we need in order for this whole thing to work out together with the masculine and feminine. Like those external forces have caused there to be like a like damage to us in our unique position as foundational Black Americans. Will we agree with that? Like with the mass incarceration, and then with, the welfare situation and trying to give us those programs, not letting the man in the home. And then you have pushing feminism on us, and then women accepting that. This has like been a long series of events that we've dealt with that may need to be addressed. Or do y'all think that we're doing fine and we should just stick with what we got going on now?
But ask that one more time.
Like, do you think that we need to address the impact a lot of these external forces that have been put against us?
For sure. And I guess like I do want to walk down there.
Oh, I got you. I'm just
because I guess like in defining what masculinity is first, and then what Black masculinity is, the good and bad of it. We can then kind of like talk about what external forces has led us there. What do we get our idea of masculinity from, especially how it reflects as a Black man? And yeah, it's a bunch of nuances that we can get to. But I get it.
I got you. Kind of something more focusing
Okay.
on what we're talking about. Like, I think masculinity in the Black community a lot of times is unfortunately it's been warped, and you're not allowed to criticize certain topics. You know, you're not supposed to say anything negative about the women. You know what I'm saying? I think you're supposed to put, you know, Big Mama first. You know, I think we have like an authority, like a hierarchy in our communities. I think that's our definition of masculinity. Like, is masculinity not hitting back?
Our definition of masculinity is Big Mama.
I think what you're trying to say is those are some of the things that they're saying are toxic. That's toxic masculinity.
I don't even know if that's like putting I don't even know how you put that into masculinity at all. Like, if anything, I would look at that as like tapping in the feminine, or maybe you use the word gynocracy. But I wouldn't say that.
I'm trying to not jump in it. But is masculinity like not hitting a woman when you're attacked? Like, was Chris Brown masculine for? Would he been more masculine if he just got beat up? You know, instead of, or you know, is not calling the police after domestic violence like a lot of Black men don't do.
Well, we say masculinity is being able to control your emotions. So, in
you know what I'm saying, is you being a victim of DV. Yeah. So being a victim of DV and just taking it and then not either responding or calling the police, is that masculinity? Because we do a lot of that in Black community.
Or not putting yourself in a position to become a victim.
I mean, but sometimes you do the best you can, and then like once it happens, you got to just cut it off and make sure you don't deal with that type of person again.
Trey, how do you define masculinity? You just keep asking questions.
I mean, in our community, I guess, is it Magic Johnson and D Wade's fathering methods? Is that masculinity?
All right. So you're not going to answer it at all. Okay. All right. So I'll throw this next question to y'all. What are some of, and I'll make it two parts. What are some of the good parts of Black masculinity and femininity, and what are some of the bad parts? Johnny, we can start with you, buddy.
And with that said, are we talking about whose definition of masculinity? Because we threw a couple of definitions out there.
I don't think that we have like a specific working definition.
All right.
And I think that is the overall theme of this conversation. Is like,
and that was kind of what I was trying to grab.
Don't seem to have a clear-cut definition of what masculinity is anymore. They know what toxic masculinity is, which seems to be almost everything now. But you know, does toxic femininity exist? And you know, what's good masculinity? It seems to be like a simp, they would call it, in a lot of cases. So it seems like we don't really have a definition in our society no more because of so many blurred lines. Because we don't have to be hunters and gatherers, because we don't have war, because we don't have the clear-cut things that usually define the man. We are in this kind of state of, you know, what is a man? You know,
so let me ask you this then. Does masculinity currently exist in our society? I guess that'll be the way to kind of cut to exactly what you're talking about first. And then it could lead us to ask about toxic masculinity, if we believe in that, toxic femininity, if we believe in that, and then we can go to the good and bad. Hopefully, if we can address it, that if we believe masculinity still exists, or have we been creature comfort out of the need for it? Like we don't have to change our oil in the driveway. We don't got to fix our plumbing. We don't got to do the light fixtures. Really, you know what I mean? There's not much manual labor that men still have to do that were reflective of old tropes. Right now, there's a push for mental health. So guys are, quote unquote, a little bit more in tune with their emotions. I think people would probably say. What's another pillar? Again, you have the 50-50 conversation. You got women with guns. Like all these old things that were necessary at one point in time that a lot of men built their masculinity off of. going to what A Black was saying, like these aren't necessary, and like a lot of men and women are finding them, you know, kind of like navigating that. So do y'all believe that masculinity exists, or is it a lot more than these specific tropes and roles that were subjugated to like the 1950s, 60s?
Shoot, I mean, I'm looking at even Webster Dictionary right now, and they don't even have like a clear answer of what masculine is. It just says like traits of men, you know, and stuff like that. But you know, we can think of feminine men that we wouldn't consider masculine. So I don't know no more. I feel like you got to have a balance, like G was saying, because we both, the feminine and the masculine is important parts of us. Because you know what is feminine? Is a man cooking feminine, or is it survival? That could be masculine if it's survival. So I think there has to be balance. Oh,
it's like a man having a clean house must be like feminine.
Yeah, and then you see the
morning routine. Like Johnny ain't really for that.
A man that orders dessert.
I'm not against the morning routine. You just ain't gotta do all the extra shit with your morning routine, bro.
Like, why you gotta wash your face, right?
No, why you gotta wash your face with ice water? Like, have you ever washed your
brush your teeth and go out the crib, right? Like,
hey G, have you ever washed your face with ice water?
Nah.
Okay then, like,
I'm not
that's
privileged
my
like
only
that.
point. Like ice water.
Nah, but I do wash my face in the morning.
We can't hear you if you're talking, Trey.
I wouldn't.
I was saying, John, it does like close your pores up after you.
So Trey, you use ice water to wash your face.
I've done a cold water rinse.
Hey, my brother, ain't nothing wrong with getting some facials every quarter. Once a quarter, you get facial, right?
Johnny, you exfoliate?
Johnny, you don't never get no facials or nothing. Ever?
No, balls, bro.
Oh damn! Hey Black, you was going.
Yeah, that was wild. That was wild.
I was just saying, like, it gotta be balanced. It seems like the definition is defined more so by culture and the context of the culture of what being masculine is. I feel like in our culture currently, a lot of things that men do, every little thing is made as feminine. Like a man, he pay on a date with Apple Pay, that's feminine. A man order dessert, that's feminine. Like, you know, so now there's this joke of like men can't really do nothing now because everything is feminine. So then, you know, well, what is masculine? Then when you start talking about what's masculine, it's like, oh, well, that's toxic though. So well, what's toxic masculinity? It's like exerting yourself as a man is toxic now. Then it's like, well, what's a man? So it's just like we kind of live in this era of like no clear-cut definitions because society isn't making it clear-cut no more. So many things and people are blurring the lines of manhood, of womanhood. You got people that can be born a man that's a woman now. You got the opposite. So it's like, what is femininity now and what's masculinity? Because we all do almost everything.
But April, do you think a lot of that is just like knee-jerk reaction comebacks? Like we were saying earlier, like you don't get any women, you hate your mama. Would you say oh, you're being like, that's just a toxic match? It seems like anything that we do.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely some trendiness to it for sure, but it's
you a narcissist.
I guess let me try and can move the conversation forward a little bit. Is there any things that is actually toxic masculine?
Being enabling all this foolishness that in the gynocracy is probably.
I imagine that people would say that that's more feminine than like toxic.
I mean, but that's feminism as defined in our community.
Yeah, we're not talking about feminism,
right? These are different,
my bad.
Words, different definitions.
Yeah,
that is masculinity as defined in our community. It's being
let's try and say,
principles.
Johnny, let me. Are there any things that are actually toxic masculine, toxic, or exemplifies toxic masculinity? I know that we typically say that a lot of things get characterized as toxic masculinity. in which are exaggerations, like, hey son, go be tough, get up, you scraped your knee, stop crying, or go outside.
I got one whenever you come around.
I was gonna say,
but there's some things that are actually toxic that deals with masculinity.
Yeah, no, I think the concept of stoicism, that's a masculine concept, but I think, like, in principle, a lot of times when people practice stoicism, it ends up being toxic to your mental, because a lot of people hold in a lot of shit that they should go see therapy, or they should go vent to somebody. And I think, like, in the name of being a man, being masculine, you try to hold stuff in, and then it end up manifesting itself. You taking it out on your family, or on your wife, on your kids, or your coworkers, people who didn't really, have to do with your pain, because you was holding it in so much, you end up lashing out on other people. So I think, like, the concept of, like, stoicism versus, like, our emotional intelligence and going to seek therapy, and, like, our focus on mental wellness, I think, that is one toxic part of masculinity. That
So you're saying so stoicism versus being emotionally intelligent, like when choosing just that one thing, that can manifest itself in toxic masculinity.
Absolutely.
That could be projection, or I imagine you're leading that to, like, self-deletion.
Or however it manifests itself.
Yeah.
But, like,
Okay.
the concept of, I can't express my emotions, I just gotta hold it in and bottle it up in the name of stoicism. I think that is one of the toxic things of masculinity that we learned from the previous generation, for sure.
G, talk to us.
I think
if you
really
disagree with Johnny, y'all can let it be known.
I don't necessarily disagree with Johnny, and I kind of maybe add to one of his points possibly. I think I got two points here when it comes to potential toxic traits. I think one is on the thing of emotional intelligence. I don't know about y'all, but I know myself and the people most people I know were taught growing up, if somebody hits you, hit them back. In fact, I even know some people who, if they came home and told the parent that they just got hit, the parent would escort them to where the incident happened and said, you must whoop their ass right now. Make them fight. I think that sort of, if somebody hits you, hit them back, like that fighting mentality, I don't want to say is I think it's toxic in that it doesn't promote, like, good outcomes for that individual by the time that they become 14, 15 with that mentality, because they're not going to get treated like a little kid. And then the penalties for having those reactions in the long term are going to be way more detrimental to their future success and outcome. So, like, teaching this reactionary, like, if somebody hits you, hit them back and fight, I think it's kind of toxic because it just doesn't promote, like, de-escalating, problem solving, self-defense, like just handling things maybe in some different ways that's not going to get you ultimately in trouble and other things that could fuck up your long term. So that's my opinion on that one. But secondly would be this idea of, like, womanizing and philandering as a man makes you more manly. I think is a toxic thing that gets pushed in the quote unquote masculine community. This idea that, like, the more bitches you fuck, the more masculine you are, or the fact that, like, you just that promiscuous, or whatever you do sexually is just going rampant. I don't think it's healthy to promote, like, that sort of lifestyle as, like, a man's man, and that's what we should be doing. I think that's toxic too.
G, do you think there's any value in forcing kids to stand up to bullies with it, not getting punked on?
No, kids need to know self-defense. No question. So yes, like I don't. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to sit here and say that, like, you should just let somebody get beat up or picked on. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm just simply saying is that I think there's a more productive way to teach that message in a way where they can process what's going on versus just getting taught to react because something happened to them. That's not strategic. That doesn't lead to favorable outcomes over time.
I feel there's a balance there.
I
Was a
No, I was saying I think that thought pattern in our community became big because we were hit for so long and wasn't able to hit back.
Right.
So the premise is based on protecting yourself, not let nobody bully you, but at the same time it becomes extreme in some cases where it's like you barely touch somebody and don't touch, put your hands off me, and now you can't control your emotions. So like the toxic part of masculinity, if masculinity is being able to control your emotions, one toxic part is not being able to, or letting them go out of control, because toxic hurts you. So it is attributes or traits of men or stereotypes of men that either hurt men or hurt women. Like a woman out of line, you smack her, you get her back in line. Like G was saying, womanizing in our community is glorified, but it hurts our community. It creates a lot of broken homes, single parents, a lot of trauma and things. So it's toxic because it hurts. So anything that is a trope or a trait of men, but it doesn't help or grow our community, it becomes toxic in a sense. So yeah.
Gotcha.
I get that. Yo, can I throw something real quick? I actually have a serious toxic masculinity thing I think Black men kind of do is, I would say, like shouldering a lot of blame and being like over accountable for the wrong things. Like we'll see something happen in Chicago, and then like Black men that aren't in Chicago, they'll be like, well, what about the Black on Black crime? Most of us don't have anything to do with that. And then there's a lot of other issues in our community that most Black men have nothing to do with. But when those topics come up, it's always weird, like blame for stuff that we can't do anything about. And I think the message, like all the Black men out there, like you've done enough. I think you need to, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't have to have this self-sustain where we put everything first, just be quiet in the background, and then with a happy wife, happy life, and then refuse to criticize and put blame where blame is due. Because until we get past that, we're not going to really see any like change, and we're signing like kind of like a dereliction of duty as men.
So in essence, like a self-deprecating superhero, like that version of a complex.
We're way too comfortable with that role, I think, as Black men. I turn the other cheek, stuff like that.
All right. So as we continue walking down, I'll ask y'all this: has the traditional standards that we judge masculinity by become outdated, antiquated?
I mean, clearly.
Everything. Oh, go ahead, Johnny. My bad.
I was gonna say, I think it's clearly because we don't even know, like we know what we used to define masculinity by. Like in our daddy's generation, our granddaddy's generation, it was easy to point out. Clearly, what we call masculine now, or what they used to call masculine, it doesn't represent like this new generation. So I think that's why we even having trouble with this conversation, is because like what we think of as masculine doesn't necessarily apply to this new generation. And I think women are going through the same thing with the so-called femininity. I think it's that, we don't know nothing about that struggle, because that's for women to have. That's their own struggle between our mothers and our grandparents. But like, I think there's definitely like whatever they used to call masculine, it don't apply to this generation.
Don't show women no sympathy. That's a
like they can't even go through the same struggle.
Hey, Black.
Yeah, I mean, with time evolves, societal norms gotta evolve. In the Maasai tribe, you used to have to kill a lion with nothing but a spear to become a man. It was rites of passage ceremonies. They
probably didn't have a lot of men.
Yeah.
Nah, I mean.
Oh man,
it happened. But the point is, like, times change, societies change. So what we do in America might be different than what they do in Saudi Arabia. Might be different than what they do in China. It might be different based on our society, because we have a lot of luxuries, we have a lot of comforts, we have a lot of things that a traditional man didn't have to deal with. You know, we're seeing like an evolution of what a man is. I think some of the basic things are still there, but I don't think a lot of the extreme parts are as important anymore because our society doesn't really require it. You know, at the 50s and people getting drafted to war or different stuff, like we're not experiencing that. We're technically in the peace era. I mean, our country's still in war in other countries. I'm not really war, but you know, they doing what they do. But as a whole, our men, our generation, we've never had to worry about having to go to war. You know, we did a little draft sign up thing when we was 18, like we all got to do, but we've never had that fear looming or growing up like some generations of like.
I think I might be close to aged out.
Yeah, like so.
Oh, we washed.
But that was a part of being a man. Like there was a time when only men could go to the army or to war.
They still can't get drafted, right?
So it's like
we too old.
Yeah, we too old.
What's the age? Is
it's like
it
25, right?
I think it's 35, 34, 35. I don't know. I may be wrong.
Then you have men come back from war and they working in factories, they working in jobs that take them away from the home. So then you have the domestication comes in. Women have to be at home to cook and clean and these things. So that defines their role. You know, that makes them a woman. Now, once again, you got people that work from home, that do tech, that do call service, that do real estate, that do things that don't have them in warehouses and factories. So they can cook for themselves. They can clean for themselves. They might do it pretty well and stuff. You know, does that make them feminine or does it make them adapting to the time that we're in? So I think a lot of people romanticize a lot of traditional values and at the same time want to be modern. And that's where we see a lot of the clash at is like, you want traditional aspects of a man and traditional aspects of a woman, the best parts of it. But at the same time, you want to be in this kind of modern society and this constant clash between us of like, well, what makes a man? A woman should be doing this, or should be at home. Well, the women at home didn't have Wi-Fi, so it's been the 50s. So do you really want your woman at home all day, not working, not doing nothing, and on internet? That ain't go in well. Or you know, the men don't got hard blue collar jobs no more. So you're gonna see him more. You know that you didn't see your husband for a large majority of the week. He gone 8 to 5, 8 to 6, depending on his commute. He come on, eat dinner, he tired, he sleep. He might spend 1 or 2 hours with his kids, and then he back. And that was people's life for 30, 40 years. Even during COVID, you seeing people, that was their first time getting a break from work in decades, like being at home and rediscovering themselves. So
a lot of relationships didn't make it through COVID.
Yeah, because you have to be in each other's face. You don't got that natural break that you get from work. So society has to evolve. We got to evolve our roles, our gender roles, what a man is, what a woman is, and I think we're going to kind of see a lot of it meld together, and we're going to do what works best. You know.
Gotcha. Trey, what is your thoughts? Has the traditional standards that we judge masculinity by become outdated? And please don't ask a question as your answer.
Oh, no. All right. I won't ask the question, but A Black said evolution, but my first thought is it really evolution or devolution? And I would say that we have devolved because to answer your question, like I don't think that we've can say that a working model is outdated or antiquated until we've been able to produce a model that's actually able to work. Because now it seems like we're getting.
Which one is the working model?
I think the working model is the traditional gender roles that have been in existence for thousands, millennia into antiquity.
Those have existed for thousands into antiquity.
Yeah, I think like we act like we have amnesia to what gender roles
like in America.
Who is that model working for, Trey?
Civilizations and cultures going into antiquity.
all the civilizations that have been torn down and doomed and don't exist no more, Rome, Greek, like
what that sentence mean?
These civilizations are gone now. You speak of them as like they were great and survived. They relics of society. They're in museums because time moved on. Like,
well, no,
so
what really happened was they invented machine guns. Like, we really want to sum it up. Like, those societies were doing just fine until the dominant society invented guns.
Rome fell. Rome fell because of machine guns.
But no, but we say
Rome
because. But when Rome fell, there were still kingdoms across the globe.
They say Babylon was still one of the greatest civilizations ever, and it didn't fall because of machine guns. It fell because of political infighting.
But there were still other traditional cultures in the globe. Right now, this whole concept where we have like one world, like we're all under the system of white supremacy, and then kind of like this Western thing is pushing against the traditional gender roles. I don't think there's ever been in a time where like.
But what I guess what I'm saying, like, there's not like ever been concrete gender roles across every civilization.
I think they were pretty close, especially if you were anywhere. If you had like you were in a war culture. If you had like a warrior class,
there was times where women hunted and the men just protected the village.
But there's
times that men hunted and then.
The men are the warriors, bro.
Even in the animal kingdom, the women lions do most of the hunting.
But they do when it comes down to a threat or something like that, the men jump in. Or when a woman can't do it, the men jump. Like the women play their role, and the man is there.
So it's like the specific role you're talking about, just like the war part.
Men are the warrior class, bro. That's a gender role that's been consistent, and if it hits the fan. And like this thing that's sitting on the house of cards falls, we're gonna see us return back to these gender roles like overnight.
But you're just saying a role like that gender role.
But that's just.
I don't think there's not really much any other one. So go ahead.
I'm just saying that's just the easiest and most common example is the men are going to be the warrior class. Like that's something that's consistent across civilizations going back into antiquity.
I got a meme if you could play.
Why did nigga? Yo, you killing me with that shit.
Shout out TBI.
That nigga keeps saying antiquity, boy.
Yeah.
That nigga.
Your boy TBI with the Trey fact check right there. Yeah, again.
At the same time, Rome had a warrior class.
Rome partially failed because they was up there playing with boys in that like Rome was a wild place.
To this day.
Yeah.
To this day.
I just said like
to this day.
It was still
if we just say that men
would get away with it,
To this
boy.
day.
Some nasty Romans, boy.
I mean, it was still a patriarchy.
Nasty work.
Like
hey,
they were a patriarchy on the plantation when they were doing whatever to the people and the boys.
Opposite of what Trey's talking about. It's in the group chat.
I'm about to play it right now.
I think what they were doing to those.
This is what Johnny wants us to check real quick.
If a man wants to get married, he must cut off his arm and give it to his fiancée as a bride price. When a man loses his arm, his wife is very happy. The wife takes good care of her husband every day. Even the man's wife helps him to go to the toilet every day. This is a remote mountainous area in Vietnam. The men here have a very low status in the tribe. They have a very strange custom. If a man wants to marry a wife when he comes of age, he has to cut off his hands. Only in this way can he show his loyalty to his wife. A man with both hands intact will not only fail to get a wife, but will also be spurned by the whole village. They are even regarded as the oddest monsters in the village. But the men who have their hands cut off not only do it of their own free will, but they are proud of their lost hands. When they see people with normal hands, they laugh at them.
I imagine it.
Yo, is that real?
It's gotta be AI, man. Ain't no
is that real?
It actually looked real though.
It looked real as hell, but
yeah, it didn't really have a lot of the AI markers that you use.
Those are war victims.
It says that
like their own butt, man. Come on, man.
That ain't real.
That shit cannot be real.
That's AI. We would have heard about that by now. That's some AI, man.
He can't even grab the ass. Why am I cutting my hands to just like I can't even.
You can't even do missionary. You just
come on, like
They do not think of they men as warrior class though. Like
you can't even smack her. You smack her with a nub.
Yeah, and then what'll happen if they get invaded by men that actually have arms?
Lose. That's the easy one.
Apparently, they in a mountainous region nobody ever heard of.
Yeah. I think Johnny was using that as
Johnny, your algorithm wild, bro. I thought Trey had a crazy algorithm.
I don't know why that popped up with my shit today.
You must be planning a trip. You going to Thailand?
Oh hell no.
Vietnam?
But so you know what? I hope you ain't going to Thailand, are you, Johnny?
Yeah, be careful out there.
Maybe having them other cons out there.
I don't like I don't like nah, I ain't gonna say
about to go export you something in.
Nah,
Lady Joy Land.
But go pay the tariff on that,
exactly the joke that I'm making right
Johnny
now.
Go pay the tariff on his.
But I'm anti that whole continent, bro. Like so.
Okay.
Damn, you anti like Asian?
Yeah, he's not. We ain't gonna put his up.
Am I supposed to be pro-Asian, Trey?
I'm just
as a black man. Am I supposed to be pro-Asian?
I'm just curious. I'm just curious your rationale. That's all.
I'm not pro-Asian, bro.
Damn. So hold on. Trey, you rather him be, but he can't be pro-Africa?
Wait. What? I might not really understand the question.
So if he said he was anti-Africa, you have no problem. But
it depends on what his reasoning was.
But if I'm anti-Asian,
it's like, wait, why anti-Asian? If the nigga say I'm
yeah.
anti-Africa, you'd be like, yeah, that's right.
It depends on where he was talking about in Africa.
Okay.
So, like, if you're talking about the right thing, you would be pro-Africa.
Yeah, if we're talking about what Burkina Faso pushing out the French, and then Mali and Niger, I'm rooting them on, you know. But if we're talking about charging Black Americans to go visit slave dungeons, then I'm not trying to pay for that. You know what I mean?
I ain't never paid for that.
You got to see it for free.
You might get a tour guide a tip, but it wasn't no charge. I went to one in Ghana and Senegal. I paid for the driver to get there and the tour guide, but not the slave castle.
So I just dropped the call-in link. It don't look like we're going to get through pretty much maybe we'll get through the rest of these questions as we go through the call-in. But this question actually was thrown to me by the call-in person. I guess they can probably give us some insight to exactly where they would like to hear some opinions when it comes down to the conversation. Bring it to the stage. We got Kofi.
Thank you. Yeah, good topic. There's not a lot that I disagreed here, but you guys made a lot of points that I thought like these. Well, you guys not making these points, but then eventually you guys got there. Like you know, one thing that I think where the question that you guys did not answer as far as like masculinity, where are you getting your masculinity from? Mm-hmm. Us growing up here in America, where are we getting our masculinity from? We're getting our masculinity from our fathers, our uncles, our grandparents, and things like that. Religion also played a part. And that's a very bad example. One thing, me personally speaking, I get a little jealous, you know, growing up here in this hemisphere, you know, us being a part of the diaspora, you'll see like, not saying we should be like Jewish people, but at least Jewish people have like a bar mitzvah. They have certain rites of passage where they can be like, you know what? Once I did this and I read the Torah and yada, 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 I am a man now. And these are the things that I have to do in order to be a man, right? There's rites of passage. Like we as a community, we necessarily don't have rites of passage. That's why when we're talking about masculinity, it's kind of like, you know, I don't want to use that phrase. I'm about to say monkey see, monkey do. That's a bad phrase. We're talking about Black people, but we just go along with what our parents and grandparents did because we think, okay, they have the best in mind for us. And yes, some of it worked. But the religious framework that I hear when I talk to my brother-in-law, the religious people, is like, hey, well, no. Especially when they came in Samuel's, like, oh, well, the woman has to follow me because I follow God and a woman follows me. which is a bad frame. So if you have a religious framework, well, I get my masculinity and my morality of a man being a man through a religious framework, like the Hebrew Israelites and Christians and all this other stuff. Well, women should learn, and the Bible says a woman should learn, keep silence. She should, walk in silence. A woman can't do this, a woman can't do, a woman can't do that. So to me, that's bad framework. And then we get to like feminism. So I think that's one of the reasons why I brought this up. And that I put up, because when we say what a woman's role and what a man's role is. So one thing that I found out when you go back, me as a Pan-African, as an African-centered person and historian, I go back to history. So, and I think I mentioned this before. So in Ghana and Nigeria, the women have have markets. So if a woman, if I'm a fisherman, I will go out fishing, and I'll give the fish to my wife, and my wife will sell it at the market, right? Same thing if I have a farm or whatever, things like that. The women in Ghana and in Nigeria, they mostly control the purse of it. So when we talk about gender roles and things like that, it's a little bit more fluid. Now, I'm talking about outside the framework of protection. Obviously, we all know men in every class is the warrior class. When you see women have to start defending themselves and things like that, that means the men have been defeated, right? So, and another thing also that speaks to this is that I keep hearing men should lead, men should lead, men should lead. Men are just natural born leaders. And I'm like, no, there are men that are horrible leaders. There are men that can't lead at all. So just because by default, you're a man, that makes you a good leader? No.
Yeah,
it just simply isn't.
I agree. I think that it's mad people. If you just have enough conversations with men, you find out how emotional men be.
But that just means you're not a masculine man, though.
And not good leaders. But that's his own different conversation. But we do have somebody else in the backstage. Kofi, appreciate it. Appreciate the topic too.
No problem.
Another favorite to the show that has popped up a lot recently. I think you said you're gonna be in North Carolina coming. What is that? April?
Yeah,
6th?
I'm gonna be there for the Dream Fest. I'm gonna be there for Dream Fest.
All right.
Yeah, I'll be there. If I see you, I'll pull up on you.
You said what?
If I see you, I'll pull up on you.
For sure.
Well, man, where Trey at, man?
I don't know. But Trey also had he had some work to do while on stream as well.
So one thing, like, even when people bring up, masculinity and patriarchy, and then they refer to like the Roman Empire, I think that's not a good society or civilization to base patriarchy and masculinity off of, because like patriarchy is a very specific thing. It's not all men have power. It's a set of men or a man. So typically in Roman civilization, Caesar is the patriarch and everybody else is below Caesar. If it's King James, it's the same concept. So in those type of societies, lesser men were seen as masculine for taking advantage, or more powerful men were seen as more masculine men for taking advantage of lesser men. Like, that's not, we shouldn't be talking about be more like the Romans or be more like, because they had a very different concept of what it meant to be masculine. Caesar could go sleep with a man and there was nothing seen wrong with that back in the day. He wasn't even considered gay if he did that, if it was considered to be a lesser man. And if it was a boy, it was perfectly in bounds. So like when people get caught up on like masculinity and femininity, and when y'all couldn't define it, it's because it changed every era, every generation, every culture. Only thing we can stick to is biological determinant, based off our biology. So like, why do men do things that require strength? Because biologically we are built to do that. Like, instead of trying to get caught up on cultural, because that stuff gonna change with every single generation. And even some of the stuff we say about Black women, like this idea of Black women being masculine is a concept that they've had since 1776, right? Like, this is not a new concept. black women were seen more closer to man, and black men were seen more akin to animal. This is what they wrote. Like, so even when we talking about this stuff like in 2025, this not new concepts. We've always struggled with these things in the black community because our situation is very different than everybody else's. And as it pertains to the American experience. Like, and that's just a struggle that we got to go through. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. All right. So yeah, until we get a couple more call-ins, keep y'all up and we can kind of continue the conversation a little bit. And I guess it makes sense to kind of continue it here. So as we talk about how things do need to be updated, which a question would have been, do we need to revert back or evolve the understanding? But it sounds like we almost, it sounds like everybody's pushing towards the concept of evolving the understanding of what masculinity actually is and what it should look like. It sounds like Trey yelled something off the mic, but
yeah, I do got a little pushback of something Kofi said as far as like he said being masculine, like not it, like leadership shouldn't be something that's seen as masculine because not every man is a good leader. But like I don't think
most men are good leaders. That's just my take though.
But like to kind of what Steve said, like I think it's something we should strive for, but I think like all men should be, and I think that is a masculine trait. I think a good leader is something that is seen as like a masculine trait. And like even if you like everybody can't be Julius Caesar or like the king, but like you should at least strive to be there. And I think that is a masculine trait, trying to be a good leader or working towards being a better leader.
And I guess like if you're saying
is like a masculine trait for sure.
To me, if you're saying being a good leader means delegating responsibilities and being able to make sure that you lean on people that are stronger in different areas, then I think yes, inside that capacity. But yeah, I don't think most men can just completely lead a home by themselves.
And to push back on John, what you're saying, that yes, as men, because again, I said outside the framework of protection, right, and making sure that your family and people that are around you that you hold dear to you feel secure. There are women can lead, right? Women can lead. So again, I remember I was listening to Rel one time. I forgot who it was, and I think it was a show you guys did before, and he was like, "Well, what do you think is good for your daughter?" And Rel said something to the effect, he's like, "Hey, look, just because as long as my daughter's happy, whether it's traditional or whatever works for her, as long as that works for her household and it makes her happy, I'm happy. But what works for me works for me." So I'm saying that to say is that if a man has to take a back seat because his woman has more strength in a particular role, let's say, hey, my wife is like, I'll use me for example. My wife is good. I'm not that I'm bad with money, but she knows how to budget. She knows how to. She has a little bit more of a better way how to save money. Me, I'm a person that knows where the money is to be spent. You know, certain things, your partner's going to have certain strengths in that you're just going to have to take the back seat and be like, "Oh, wow, all right, babe, you got it." You know what I'm saying? You're just better at that.
But
I'm a man, and that's kind of ego tripping.
Yeah, but yeah, if you try to lead or be authoritative leader, but like you can be a democratic leader, but at the end of the day, and like even in your family, you wouldn't say that you're the leader, and you don't think most men are the leaders of their family.
Now, what do you mean say by leader? Again, as like my wife did this joke to me one time, and I think she was with my kids or whatever. She's like, "Nah, if anything happens to me, Dad's gonna come out here. He's gonna do da." And then my wife played a joke at me. I was like, "Yo, this person is acting a fool. I think they about to fight me." And I'm like, I ran almost 2 blocks, and I'm ignoring the her calling me. She's like, "Nah, it's a joke. It's a joke." So when you mean by leader, you mean leading what? Leading my family? My word in my family is not the final word. It's democratic. Now, if you ask me, hey, look, when it comes to protection, yes, I'm gonna have the final word because as a man, I gotta protect. They had some TikTok show where they got this guy. It was funny, and he got this guy. He's walking with his girl, and his girl's all la da 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 da, and the guy is like thinking, "Wow, there's an exit here. There's an exit there."
Yeah,
Okay.
I know you mean.
Yeah. That guy looks suspicious, and his girlfriend's just acting a fool and stuff like that. That's what a man is protective. So I say, yo, babe, no, do not do that. That does not look good. This is not safe. My wife listens to me because I'm the protector.
Got you. But we got a couple more that have called into the backstage. So I'll kind of continue bringing them up, and hopefully we can kind of move into the last part of the conversation. If not, we'll continue the banter. It's all in good conversation. But with that said, TBI, welcome back, brother.
What's good? What's good?
What's good, brothers? What's good,
What's going
Trey?
What's up, dog?
Yeah. Can y'all hear me? I got some headphones on.
Yeah, we get you.
All right, cool. But no, I think this is a great conversation, man. It's definitely an issue nowadays, like defining what's masculine and what's feminine. But to me, I think ultimately we need to kind of stick to traditional and where men are leaders and women are supporting their leadership. To me, I feel that's how God set it up. Because leadership is not about always being like the smartest. I look at leadership as like a CEO of a company. It's like he has people that are over different departments in the company, but the big decisions come down to the CEO. You gotta make the calls. And I think that's where men come in. Like my wife is very smart and she supports a lot of different things. But ultimately I'm gonna have to make that decision. And if it's wrong or it's correct, I have to deal with it. So I think that pressure and that burden is to be put on men, and women support that. So
can a woman be a CEO?
She can, but when we're talking about leadership and making decisions, I feel like that falls with men.
Yeah, but a CEO.
When you, I'm talking about in the family concept. I just gave that as an example as far as somebody that has to make decisions and lead. So you do have a lot of women. You do have women CEOs, but the majority of them are men. So.
Yeah, and it doesn't sound like anybody's too far off. I think that we're using different wording to describe a very similar conversation.
I don't know, man.
Where like for example, I asked the idea, like when Johnny first made the statement, what do you mean by leadership? And if by leadership you mean being able to properly delegate responsibilities, then sure. But if that means that you lead in every aspect, then no. But what everybody kind of has explained is like a man being able to properly identify his strengths and weaknesses and then know when to offload those to a person that might be stronger inside that sense. Whatever we describe that as, the action of it sounds like it's the same from what everybody said so far. Correct?
Yeah. I would say that I think ultimately like the burden comes back to the man. So I think that's part of even if you delegate it, like if something goes wrong, you still gonna have to step up and fix it as a man. You can't just point it.
What specifically?
Hold on. I think that's the important thing is the accountability as a man. Like I'm willing to, for the family, sacrifice and take the consequences. Not only just the rewards and reap the benefits, but if something goes wrong,
right?
And like we'll be an example of this.
Yeah, what we're talking about specifically.
Outside of like when we say like inside like a fairy tale figurative.
So let's say not even a fairy tale. So yeah, like if what Kofi's talking about, he says his wife manages finances and things like that. If she makes a mistake with the finances, it's still on him to get it back on track and fix it. He can't just like point at her and say, or he can, but ultimately he's still gonna have to step up and handle and get the family back on track. So that's how it ultimately falls back on him.
Well, no, as together as a couple, we will have to figure out. Like one time I forgot I messed up on a phone bill or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And she was like, yo, you're supposed to have that. Da, 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 da. She's checking me. I can't say, well, I'm the man. You can't check me. You know what I'm saying? No, I have certain responsibilities were allocated to her. Some were allocated to me. If any of us fall short, we check each other. You know what I'm saying?
But at the end of the day, though, as a
I
man.
can't. There's no such thing as pulling rank. I whip my dick out and say, "Well, I'm the man." Like, nah, we don't do that.
So, for example, Johnny, if she's making, let's just say financially, she's making more than you. Where's your responsibility at to get it back? If she's already contributing more, but then she made a bad financial decision.
I'm saying if she
How
made
do you specifically get
I'm
that
saying
back?
even if she made a bad financial decision and it comes down to me,
Or
as
y'all
a man,
made it
as a man, I feel like I'd be willing, in order to get us back, if she's in the hole, sacrifice more of my bills to help get the family.
But if
back.
she's like the financial provider, or she makes more and she puts more into the pot, how will you specifically get it back and it not be a we?
Man, John, I think he's trying to push you into a man. If the family get put out on the streets, it's gonna be on the man. Nobody's gonna be looking at the woman like
Exactly. We just got to speak factual, man.
Like no matter how much she makes, or how much I make, it's gonna be on the man.
At that point, like,
you're not gonna be looking at your wife to handle that, bro. You gonna have to handle
no matter
it.
what, no matter how much she make, like
I get it. I don't
family
know.
gonna blame me too.
Like everything that y'all say are all of the reasons why divorces happen.
Also, Trey
that is
said,
what's the main two reasons why divorces happen?
Trey said earlier that black men tend to have a issue with taking too much of the, blaming on themselves for the downfall of stuff. I think y'all are like describing that to a T right now. It's not when you get married to somebody, and I'm married.
Bro.
I've been married for 10 years. Marriage is not no I. Marriage is we. If I fuck off $100,000, we are down $100,000. Not just I is down $100,000.
But as the man, you gotta as the man, you gotta step up, bro. Come on, bro. Y'all gotta stop this fairy tale stuff, bro.
Are you married? TBI.
Of course you gonna step up. But if you're
you have to step up. What do you mean?
Every man is going to step up.
You have to.
Of course,
if she
you
fuck
gonna
off 100,000, you still got to get it back and put the family.
But she can get it back way easier than you can. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean. I won't be like that.
You're gonna have to step up. Of course, you have to step
up.
This whole concept of this whole concept of like it's all on you and that's it. That's like.
Bro.
We talked about this like last week. Y'all only see yourself as valuable by how much money y'all can bring in, and that's like devaluing.
That ain't got nothing to do with it, man. It's about problem solving and conflict resolution, bro.
Hey fellas, really quickly, fellas.
Partnership.
I hope
really
you
quickly,
don't get married to a woman
Steve, not A Black, but Kofi TBI. Give me a quick second. We do got a few more in the backstage. So I'm gonna bring. Yeah, we got 3. We got a newcomer as well. So you said what?
I see. I like how you didn't stutter that time.
What did I say on?
I'm saying you said in the backstage. You didn't even have.
Oh no! Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Now listen, I've slowly adopted it into my I don't even say the other way I used to say it no more. I don't even say it no more. I'm on like a 3-week streak of, kind of chilling.
We got a couple dudes in the back.
Yeah, right. I did have I had a wild crazy pause earlier with A Black. That one was kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie. But outside of that, bringing up a favorite, y'all know him. Talk to us.
What up,
What up?
We can't hear you if you're talking. Right, there you go.
I hear him.
Where's some old school shit?
What's going on?
What's good?
What's good?
Yo, I feel like, you know what I'm saying, a lot of times when it comes down to everybody speaking up,
Hey, something with your sound right now.
Tell him
it's something going on with your sound.
Bluetooth or something.
Oh, he dropped out. All right, I'm gonna bring up. We have a newcomer. Malaysia. Let me know if I said your name correct.
You definitely said my name wrong. It's Malicia.
Malicia, welcome to the show. Let us know your thoughts.
By which part?
truthfully, whatever you felt most interested in and engaged in, or have the strongest opinion on.
I feel like as far as masculinity and femininity, I agree with I don't know his name, GthaKing. I feel like that's more of an energetic thing. I think the roles that we kind of hyperfixate on are interchangeable, because if I'm down and out, you my man, and we live in the same household, and I'm down, I'm sick, whatever the case may have be, whatever, I'm expecting you to hold the fort down. Now, if in the same and vice versa, if you're down, I know you can't go to work, you sick, whatever, I gotta hold the fort down, because that's what makes our home operate. I think it's more so a thing within our community than it is in any other community. I was reading some book, and it was like within I guess affluent relationships, it's a thing of where they have common core values. And when we enter relationships, especially when we get into that mid 30, upper 30, 40 year range, we don't discuss, as far as Black people, we don't discuss what are your core values. What do we have similar? What beliefs do we have similar? Because a lot of times that's where a lot of conflict comes from. Our backgrounds can be different. Our raising could be different. Like our upbringing could be different and things of that nature. Because I was raised in a 2-parent household. You may very well just been raised in a single parent household. But I would never expect your experience to be, your outlook on my experience to be the same. You get what I'm saying? So I have to understand like where you're coming from, mentally from it, emotionally from it, because everything you learn and that you exude as an adult, you learned as a child. So what environment was you in where you thought that this was okay, and on either parts? You get what I'm saying? So the whole masculinity, femininity thing is just like, now I don't expect you to be wearing my drawers and my but in reality, it's like, I feel like the roles when it comes to the traits is interchangeable. Like I expect you to be a provider because my father was a provider. All the men that I've ever been around were providers. But I also know that if my man gets sick, I can also provide, because our lifestyle not gonna change.
Now, can I ask you a question? I agree with you 100%. So, as a female, and welcome to the show, we need to have more females on here, have our counterparts here. So, you mentioned something also, and I want to highlight what you said. So, you didn't look at your man any lesser when he's like down and out, or like, hey, let's say, like in my instance, one time I lost my job, right? And my wife had to provide. Do you see your man as lesser as a man if he can't financially provide?
No. And I say that because in essence, I feel like a true man will be like, I'm down, but he's not getting comfortable with being down and out. You get what I'm saying? If he's not going to work every day, he understands, or he has took it upon himself, I would say, that okay, there's loads of clothes that need to be washed, there's dishes in the sink, like lessen the load, so that when the house, like, there's not an imbalance of, I guess, duties when you come back home. Like, I know for me, from personal experience, it's a thing. Like, if I'm going out to work and I come home and you're at home and everything's the same way how I left it, dishes in the sink, clothes, like there's no weight lifted from me. You get what I'm saying? So it's like a balance of just the structure within the household. So if you're asking like, oh, you don't have a job and he's not supposed to be respected as a man, no, I don't think that. You know what I'm saying? I think that at that stage it's a communication thing. Like, hey, I get it, and I'm not gonna, me personally, now and I've grown into this, I'm not gonna hound you either, because I don't know if you don't communicate what your goal is and what your vision is, especially as being the quote unquote leader of our structure, then how do you expect me to be confident in your ability to lead if you never communicate?
All right, so I mean,
So
real
he
quick,
got to articulate the code, is what you saying?
She got to exactly what I was going to ask about.
You said, I just want to clarify that you said, so that man has to be able to articulate what the code is for it to be clear and for you to like agree on that. Is that what you're saying?
Well, you have to articulate what his vision is. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, you lost your job, cool. That means that part of your journey has now, expired, and I'm cool with it. Like, me personally, I'm a business owner, so I don't believe doing a 9 to 5. I know it's, each and everybody got their own thing, and I've been in business for 13 years now. So, I I understand the fluctuation of the job market. So, but if he's like, okay, babe, this is what we're doing. Like, hey, I lost the job, but this is what I'm putting in plan. I think I should start working for myself, and whatever case may have you. And I'm like, okay, so what's the business plan? What's the strategy? Like, how are we gonna get this off the ground? Because now I know that, because for like as of right now, because my business has been thriving for so long, I haven't, passed that little mark. I can actually step back and allow someone else to run my business, because my like an operations manager, I can have them run my business and focus on helping him get what he needs to get, on his feet. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's in our community. I feel like that is the key for Black women and for Black men to understand that you have to extend some type of grace, because we're all facing the same vices. We're all facing the same. We're all doing the same fight. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't have no grace with your counterpart that look just like you, it's gonna be a problem.
So I basically just wanted to say,
Kofi, we got a couple more in the back that I do want to get to. We'll continue the conversation. I'm sure we'll probably have a couple minutes left at the end.
All right. Yeah, great having some women on the show. Yeah.
For sure.
Awesome.
Sure. All right, Unc. Let's see if you have fixed your phone. Unc, talk to us.
Yo, what's going on? Yeah, the way I feel about everybody is saying, there's toxic masculinity and this and that, whatever. I asked y'all a couple of weeks ago, and y'all kind of explained to me what it was, but it don't make sense to me. What it is to me, it seems like men make themselves more toxic. You know what I'm saying? What the meaning of it is, to me, it seems like men grasp into it and will put that title on their own self more than women do. And I don't understand. One thing that I see is like, I see it to where, what do you call, what I'm saying, if a man go out here and he goes out here and he cheats on his woman and everything like that, that might tear up the household, and which it does tear up the household. But in today's society, if you look at these younger women, they are the ones that they do more things that will be considered old school masculine than the young men do. So it's like roles has almost reversed now, and you really don't know what what you're looking at. I see more feminine acting young men than I do, and the women act like they're more hardcore. The women act like they don't run to the door with the gun and shoot in home invasion. I don't, and I just don't see it to where, in today's society, where you can put your hands and say what this is or what that is, because everything changes all the time. It's like, I feel like what works for you can work for you. And, if you are in your household, and in your household, if your woman makes more money than you, that doesn't mean that you're not the man of the household. It just means she makes more money than you. That does not mean that she knows about finances just because she makes more money than you. You might be able to put money, make sure that money is getting saved or this or that or whatever, because everybody isn't good with the same thing. And just how it is. And one of the things that I also see, and it's also is the competitiveness. Most in today's society, it seems like younger marriages and younger people doing things is always competitive. The woman wants to compete with the man. And how can you compete if you call yourself one? You can't be a competitive if y'all are, if y'all are tag team, how you gonna compete against your tag team partner? You can't do that. But the women of today want to do more than the man. You might own a house when you get married, but you hear your wife saying, I want me a house. When you got married, you had a house. Why not buy a rental property or take that money that you're doing it and make more money for the family instead of you saying what you want? But I hear that so much. The women want to compete against the men. And that's not what it's supposed to be. And I'm not saying that she's his helpmate or anything like which they can be, because he can be her helpmate. Or vice versa, you know what I'm saying? But in today's society, things are so twisted, and it seems like the women want to be the man so much.
Do you know why that is?
Tell me why.
No, I'm asking you, do you know why that is?
I think it's because they are raised to be competitive. They are raised to be competitive against the men, and they came from their mothers sitting there and making them that way. Their mothers raised them. A lot of them come from single family, you know what I'm saying, homes where the mother had to do this or that, whatever. And the mother didn't have no man in the house. And she might have made good money, or she might have did things like this way or that way, whatever. But she hadn't had a good man in her life so long that if her daughter get a good man in her life, she give her daughter bad advice. And she and it be messed up, and that's what happens a lot of times. What do you say, guy? Not for she? Too much of it.
You said a word.
Uncle Trey in the bag today. It's one of them ones.
I'm spitting in that.
Red pill. You been on that red pill space.
I'm spitting, man.
All right, and we do have one more backstage. We appreciate you.
One love.
Yeah.
Bro.
Let me see who I'll take on. Straight from South Africa. Kamu, what's going on, brother?
How's it, fellas?
It's good.
I think that's what's up. I think you've covered a lot of important aspects of what makes a man and masculinity. But I want to take it a notch high and talk about what maintains masculinity. I think the point of providing and protecting is the primary function of being a man, and that's covered. Now, to maintain that, there are two aspects that every man understands that it's kind of inherent or very important to maintain, which is respect and integrity. Now, when we talk about respect, we are talking about a fundamental aspect that every man, even if you don't communicate it, but you expect to get from, the external community or people outside of your inner circle, you expect them to give you respect. Now, the question is, as Black men, are we respected enough? Are we doing enough to maintain our masculinity and manhood by means of um, portraying ourselves in a manner that makes the next man respect who we are? I doubt that's the case, which is to say that I see Black masculinity going on a downward trajectory. For an example, as a Black man, you shouldn't allow your offspring to be taught by white people. Where are your schools? We don't have such. As a Black man,
Dang.
Let me cook. What's so funny about that? Let me cook, brother. As a Black man, you shouldn't be banking with a white bank. Where are our banks? We don't have banks. As a Black man, you shouldn't be relying on a white government to provide you with the necessary protection and social welfare and all those kind of things. We should be having our own programs. So my thing is, as Black men, our masculinity is being challenged and we're doing nothing about it. So that's about it. Our respect is off the window, integrity is off the window, and we see nothing wrong with it. We're doing nothing about it. That's my thing.
Who's challenging it?
I mean,
you're talking about masculinity
has,
on the world stage, Kamu? That's what you're talking about. I mean,
who's challenging Black men's masculinity? Like,
I know who is. Yeah, the American aid is they're withholding unless they accept LGBTQ policies in Africa. They're challenging masculinity, right?
Like who though? Like like who specifically is challenging
the West.
Black masculinity?
I imagine what he's speaking about is like global white supremacy. And
because if that's not your answer, then it's no point of you talking about it. Like if that's not your answer to that question, because I feel like we always get off on like talking about somehow our masculinity is being challenged by women when really our masculinity is being challenged by other white men. Like that's why masculinity is being challenged.
But what if
Yeah,
they
I imagine
weaponize-
that was the point that he was making for sure.
But they
Yeah, but
can influence our
yeah,
women to use them
exactly.
as tools.
Or he might be talking about like on the financial stage and like asset base when it comes down to whether you go Indian, Asian, XYZ. That's why he said on like the on a globe, or maybe he said the grand stage or the global stage, are black men competing at the same same level as other men. And because of that, he feels that black masculinity is on a downward trajectory.
Because we're not competing with other men. You're saying that's why our masculinity is on a downward trajectory.
No, we're not respected on the world stage.
He's saying we're not carrying ourselves in respectable ways to earn the respect of others. But like that, what you
Like
said.
we don't teach our own kids. We don't have our own school, not schools, but banks. XYZ. He ran down his list of why black men on the global stage wouldn't be that. That was kind of like his point.
And the thing is, we do have all of that stuff. It's just
That's what I'm
not used
saying.
on a mass scale.
Yeah.
We got black banks, we got black schools. It's just not a lot of the closeness.
Promoted.
The closeness to whiteness is seen has more value. So putting your kid in the white private school is more valuable than the black Montessori school, or going to Bank of America, Wells Fargo feels safer than the local black bank, because we have distrust in our own community. So we have the avenues and stuff. It's just that the trust is not built there, And then as far as what Uncle was saying, I don't necessarily agree that women are raised to be competitive and stuff in a lot of ways. I feel like their experiences with men harden them, and that we don't always take accountability for
With the men they choose.
Yeah. Hey,
Yeah,
TBI.
Well,
I'm gonna bring you backstage really quickly just to bring Unc back up. So
the men that they choose, yes, but we also know that a lot of men switch up, and a lot of men portray
What happened
themselves.
to women's intuition?
No, well, we know that's a fallacy in that sense.
This
But
nigga
we
is a
we
fool.
also can't deny that some men portray themselves to be a way that they're not.
Because some women do
Exactly.
too. Like,
Some men send a representative, just like women. They send a representative. A lot of women. You gotta
That's a
realize,
wash.
if I know what appeals to you, I'm gonna give you what appeals to you. Because in reality, if a woman sits down and say, "I'm gonna share my entire layers," and this is what you get, especially in today's time with social media being so, influencing and stuff like that.
Prevalent.
You have to realize how energy wise, I can be like, okay, if I date this guy, can he handle all my layers? Because
Why you gotta bring so many layers?
Then I know.
Why you gotta bring so many layers? Why we gotta accept your baggage? Why is it that y'all always want somebody to accept your baggage, but y'all won't accept the man's baggage? Why a man got to come to the table full inflated, where y'all come with a pump in your ass, got to pump y'all up? Why? Y'all come? Why is it that man always got to be already inflated? Why?
That's the difference between a girl and a woman. That's the difference between a girl and a woman, because a relationship is reciprocal. So if I'm asking you to accept my layers, that means I have to expect that you have layers as well. And I have to either say, hey, I'm not prepared. I don't have the emotional capacity to handle your layers. And then you have to be like, okay, I respect it. A lot of girls just come in this situation and be like, yeah, I like you because you got money, you drive this type of car, you got your own this, you got that. But the reality of it is they're only there because of what you got. So
man, you are a rare commodity if you are true to what you're saying. You are a rare commodity if you are true to what you're saying. You are. You're rare. You are. And you know what I'm saying? You might be a true queen. But what you're saying don't come with the average woman. It does not come like that.
Hey, smooth. Hey, shout out to he's smooth. Hey, Uncle Smooth, but hey, I see what you're doing there. He switched that up real quick.
She is though. Ain't a lot of women that's thinking like you be thinking sometimes.
Where do y'all be beating Where y'all be beating women at?
That's what I be saying.
I agree as well.
Worst part of women,
I agree, Steve. I ain't gonna lie to you. Niggas be having
rare amongst her friends. Her friends think like this too. I'd be curious to hear how you say your name. Was it Malaysia?
It sounds like y'all
Malaysia
fine women or women that look good, and y'all get caught up on what's vain and not what's deeper in like people character. Like if you lead with character first, because the only like let's be real.
Hold up. You said jump the physical. We supposed to jump like they like big women.
No, but if you only chase something that's just
keep running into these same type of women, like right,
you're only chasing vain women.
You have to be chasing vain women.
No, but I'm not saying that every man you got your woman. If you stay with her for a while, she's pretty decent, or she's what you looking for, or whatever. But I'm saying out here, as far as in what you see out in the world. I'm not saying that, you know what I'm saying, it's just out here. As far as in what you see, I'm talking about every day. I'm not talking about if you find you something, you better keep it. You better keep it. If you don't keep it, you know what I'm saying, you a fool. You find a good woman, you better, hey, it's rare to come in between them because you don't know. Because just as women always say, men bring their representative, women have 5 or 6 representatives they bring.
I just believe whether you are a man or if you're a woman, if you keep attracting the same type of people with bad character, that says more about you than it says about the people you are attracting. Because that's a ability that you don't have of no type of discernment to tell if somebody is going to be a person of character or not, right? Because
it also depends on what you're looking for. Everybody is not looking for the same thing. Like you might went out looking for your wife. Every man, you know what I'm saying, he might be just looking for him a relationship or something to get down with for the night. The same thing with a woman. You know what I'm saying? People go with different things. Everybody is not meant to be married. Everybody don't want to be married. You understand what I'm saying? And with all of that being said, just let me for 1 second. If with all that being said, if you find a decent person, stay with them. You know what I'm saying?
Even like
if you find a decent person, stay with them.
I do agree with that. Hey, we're gonna continue this.
I was just gonna say who you attract always not who you choose. Like if you lit, man, you attract everybody, but who you choose goes back to your discernment. I think you can still have observations on what's going on in popular culture and pop society, but that don't necessarily mean that that's going on in your personal life. Like I can see it's fucked up out here, but me, I don't have no problem with women or the women I choose or that choose me, but I definitely attract all type of women from the high to the low. You know, I don't mean that I choose them. So
but you got a vetting process to get you away from the ratchets and the crazies.
I don't think
you start recognizing them flags and be like, oh yeah.
I don't think who you attract is reflective of who you are all the time. Like you just a lit individual.
Who you get in a relationship is
like who you choose though.
That's what I said.
My bad. Hey, fellas, really quickly. So we'll continue this on the after show, but let's finish this episode off really quickly. Let me wrap it up, and we'll continue the conversation. So again, this has been the To Be Fair Show and GS Podcast presenting to you Unpacked. With that said, we talked about masculinity. We wasn't really able to dive too deep into femininity. Ladies, if there's any of y'all out here, plus I'm gonna call you Miss M right now because I do not want to mispronounce your name again. If you got some friends that'd like to join us next week, we can kind of discuss in open forum a bit of critiques and things that we do and don't like about the current perspective on femininity. But again, with that said, top GH podcast. Make sure you like and follow FBA Trey, aka CassiusTrey, aka David Walker, Johnny P, a third of the To Be Fair Show. Catch him on Sunday at 4:30. I don't know what G is waving up there. I heard that Cooper Flag is a suspected white supremacist. Kofi Boss, it's just Kofi. I don't know how to say that right there, but again, this was his topic that he presented to us, and seemed to be a really, really fun and interesting conversation. A Black, the mayor of Charlotte, Miss M, we appreciate you calling in. Love for you to call in again. Straight from South Africa, Kamu, we got Unk, and nonetheless, TBI and Steve. Steve went backstage for a quick second, but he back. But Steve, And like that, this has been a great conversation. This has been a great episode. We appreciate y'all listening. Like, comment, subscribe, super chat, hit them cash apps. Y'all all see them. And with that said, we out. Peace.